Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. We're live for Scotland versus Czech Republic and I'm joined by Rory for today's stream. It's good to have you on, Rory. How you doing, pal?
It's an honour. Thank you very much for having me, Mark. I'm excited about this one. I've got a lot of stick very recently from Scotland fans. It's been fairly aggressive, so I'm intrigued to see how this one plays out.
Where do you stand on that? Actually, I mean, I've got to be honest. Also, being English, I'm not too sure. They're in our group as well. I mean, do we want them to win today, or are we actually wanting them to lose? Where do you sit on that one?
Well, I think my priority is England. I support England. I want England to do as well as possible. And I think the best result for England here is probably a draw.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah.
So I will be hopeful for a draw, but I'm sure Scotland fans feel the same. Although their priority will be the game today, as our priority was yesterday. Friday is going to come thick and fast, isn't it? And I'm so excited for that game. So it's one eye on that game already. And I think a draw is the result that we need. But if there's a winner, I think it's better for England for it not to be Scotland, because Scotland will then go into the game at Wembley against England even more desperate for a win. And we don't need to give them any more motivation.
Yeah, I think that I was so happy with the Croatia result yesterday for obvious reasons, but also because we go into that Scotland game and we basically, even if the wheels come off, we only need a point from the last two because 4 points will get you through even in third place. So, yeah, I was very happy with that result yesterday, and I'm interested to see what the Czech Republic are all about really as well. We'll go through the teams in a minute, but they could be the surprise packages of the group because Croatia are obviously out of the way now.
Yeah, definitely. I think that people have been fairly dismissive. I don't mean dismissive in a particularly negative way. I just mean that the focus seems to have been on England, Scotland and Croatia. And the Czech Republic have seemed to have been like the other team and haven't necessarily got the coverage that they deserve. But I think the Czech Republic are looking at this group and thinking that they can certainly progress as well. So this game for both of these sides, I actually think is a must win, because whoever loses today, I think he's then going to struggle to progress.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that what I've seen from this tournament, I was talking about it last night with Craig about the Europa League as well, which obviously he won the Champions League, so you don't know too much about the Europa League. But I've seen a lot of good teams that are very good up to the end of the pitch, and then they're toothless up front, a bit like Croatia yesterday. So, I don't know much about Czech Republic. And obviously I think Scotland are again, a bit of a toothless side. They can battle it. Wales the same. A lot of teams in international football seem to be a bit toothless. So if Czech Republic have got anyone who can put the ball in the back of the net, I think, as we saw last night, if you can score goals in this tournament, you're going to be a threat.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's something that I actually find a little bit troubling even about England. Look, Harry Kane is a magnificent football player. Right? I would make the case for him being the best striker in the world. However, this system that England are playing, he doesn't seem to be in the box. And ultimately, you need somebody who is going to score goal after goal in this tournament. And if we can't get Harry Kane firing, I feel like our aspirations can only go so far. And look, that's going to be the same. That's going to be the same for everyone. Whoever finds a knack of scoring. And look, Italy were free flowing, weren't they? The fact that Immobile is amongst the goals already, despite the fact that I was talking to some Italian friends before. They said, look, he's got a great club record, but he just isn't an international goal scorer. They were worried about Immobile. I thought he looked brilliant. And all of a sudden, it changes the way we feel about Italy, doesn't it? People saying maybe dark horses, maybe outsiders, maybe not good enough to win the tournament. Suddenly,
got me some top on.
They scored 3. They're amazing. Oh, yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
What have you got there? What's that, Sampdoria?
Yeah, vintage.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even vintage. It's like a Lyle and Scott thing that they sent me. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah,
very nice. Well, because do you know that kit? Do you know what I reckon one of the most beautiful images? Like there are certain images in football that just live forever, right? You know the Rui Costa and Materazzi looking at the San Siro.
Yeah.
When all the Robbie Fowler doing his celebration at Anfield. Like there are certain images that live forever. And for me, one of the most glorious pictures in football will be Ruud Gullit looking amazing when he was definitely one of the best footballers in the world, wearing that exact kit.
Yeah.
It's just full of beautiful memories. Sampdoria are my.
Did Ruud Gullit play for Sampdoria?
Ruud Gullit, yeah. Ruud Gullit in that kit. Oh, it's the look, I wouldn't suggest that anyone opens any other tabs at the moment, because obviously I'm honoured that people are tuning in to listen to us two talk. But when this stream ends, people need to be googling Ruud Gullit Sampdoria. It is as beautiful as it gets.
I feel, like sometimes you get told something and you're like, I feel like I've, cheated myself and everybody else. But I'll call. He played there a little bit older, didn't he? That's why.
Yeah.
I'm just
he looks, but he just looks. It's how I look on a football pitch in my head. It's not how I look on a football pitch in real life. In real life, I'm a little bit overweight. I'm red. I've got a ridiculous hairstyle. I don't look like that. But in my head, how I want to look on a football pitch, that is Ruud Gullit in that Sampdoria kit.
93 to 95, he was there. That's what
93 to 95. And
so I'm thinking of, you see, the Sampdoria for me, probably might be a little bit older than you, is Viali Mancini. That's the thing.
David Platt went there.
David Platt did go there, yeah. Lombardo as well. He was a good little player, wasn't he? But,
Well, I think the Sampdoria thing probably resonates with me as well, because that's the Ruud Gullit that came to Chelsea.
Yeah. I remember him at Chelsea, definitely.
Yeah, came in Mark Hughes, your boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Paul Ince the other week about that. Him, Hughes, and Kanchelskis went in 95, and I don't think any of them actually wanted to go. It was just part of the rebuild. Right, let's go through the team.
Mark, I've got to interrupt you there. What an amazing sentence that was, by the way. I was talking to Paul Ince the other day. Can you hear yourself? That's amazing.
Oh, come on! Don't act like you don't walk in those circles as well. I saw you get to play on more pitches than bloody Phil Jones. You do. You've played on more Premier League pitches in the last. Well, I think we all have. I don't think he's played on any, but I saw you mixing it down at Chelsea, and I
don't have Paul Ince on speed dial though.
No, I tell you what. I tell everybody this story. I don't even know if I've said it publicly. Paul Ince is the best footballer I've ever met, and I didn't expect it to be. Governor and all that lot. I don't know whether I caught him on a good day, but what a nice guy. And I think it's because he's from my era as well. I remember that United side of the early noughties, and obviously Euro 96. But very interesting guy to chat to.
Amazing footballer as well. Absolutely brilliant player.
He was brilliant.
He went over to Italy, didn't he? Went to Inter Milan and was brilliant there. Just a great footballer.
Yeah. Let's go through these teams then, because Czech Republic is quite interesting. Two very good West Ham players there. But we'll start off with Scotland. Marshall, Hanley, Cooper, Hendry, O'Donnell, Armstrong, McGinn, McTominay, Robertson, Dykes, Christie. It's workmanlike, right, Rory?
It's workmanlike. What I think they're relying on, I think John McGinn is an excellent player. I think he has the craft and the elegance to play at this level. I really do. I think maybe this is too far, Mark, but would John McGinn be in the England squad?
No.
Wouldn't he? Okay. He'd be the closest.
Not if Ward Prowse isn't in there, to be fair.
No, that's true. But I do rate McGinn. I think that he's clever. I think he has an excellent eye for a goal. And when you look at the team, the way that they set up, they're relying on him playing to his full potential. I think he will. I think he's a really good player.
Industrious player, isn't he? He's got a lovely left foot on him as well.
Lovely left foot. Look, great eye for a goal as well. Real pinger on him. They are relying on him. And I suppose, do you know who else has to carry a lot of the responsibility today? It's Scott McTominay, isn't it?
Yeah. United.
Like he is, regardless of whether. Look, you and I could have a debate about whether he is Manchester United quality, and that could go on for an hour.
It's definitely Scotland quality. In fact, we're probably Scotland quality.
But he
started.
But look, he is a Manchester United player. He's played in a final this year. He has been a pivotal part of a team that finished second in the league. This is his moment. He needs to now play to that full potential for Scotland to have any hope whatsoever. Do you think they'll get anything today?
Scott McTominay, I've been joking all week. Well, they've got to get this game out of the way. Then tomorrow, like when you play Football Manager or FIFA, and in between games, you've got rest day, training day. Basically, what the Scottish players have got from tomorrow is Braveheart on repeat for 3 days. That's basically their training for England. And if Mel Gibson was there going freedom, charge, Scott McTominay is exactly the sort of Scottish guy I can imagine to just be charging out from the front with his kilt on. going Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo. He is that sort of player. He'll give everything.
What? I don't know if you experience this, but I get a lot of grief on Twitter, primarily wrapped around, and on my YouTube channel, actually. It comes sort of in all places, but Twitter seems to be the most aggressive because I seem to favour players. But the thing that people say to me is I'll always favour a passion merchant. Like, I always like somebody who plays with his heart on his sleeve. But I do think there's a place for that. I do think it's beneficial. And I think Scott McTominay playing like a man possessed for Scotland, it is good. And it stands them in good stead. I think that they need a bit of that. And I think Andy Robertson will do the same. He's very much a heart on your sleeve, work hard. I think you said it perfectly. Industrious. But there is a place for that. And that can get you so far.
McTominay's wearing pink boots as well. He must be doing that on purpose. He knows who I am, surely. You can't wear pink boots as a United player and not know what a potential banana skin that could be. But no, I think that it'd be interesting with McTominay. Fred played well for Brazil last night, and people are going, maybe he's not that bad. And I'm like, why has everybody switched their heads off from club football just because someone does well in international football? But let's have a look at the Czech Republic side, because I don't know masses about them, although I do know Kufel and obviously Souček, who are both very good seasons for West Ham. Vaklic, Kufel, Seleska, Kalas, Borrell, Souček, Kral, Masopust, Darida, Jankto, and Schick. Anything about them Rory, other than the West Ham lads?
No, the West Ham thing, isn't it? And my one worry about the Czech Republic doing well. Do you know how West Ham fans claim the World Cup? Are you like, I don't know if this is a London thing, but in London, West Ham fans, they genuinely believe and they genuinely say, we won the World Cup. Because of Bobby Moore and whatever.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. I was going to say, I was trying to think about French players that they've got.
I think Bobby Moore, Jeff Hurst. I think they claim the World Cup. If the Czech Republic do well here, they're going to claim that, aren't they? Yeah. Like West Ham fans are going to own this.
What are you going to go with? I mean, we'll ask the chat as well, actually. Mark, I've been watching United stand since 2017. Agree with 90 of the things you say, but think McGinn would be a brilliant signing for United. Not a CDM, but very good, says NMCC. Kral is one to watch. West Ham are eyeing him up, says Curry126. What are you going to go with as a score prediction, Rory, then? I'll always let the guest go first so I can have a bit of thinking time.
I am going to go for the scoreline that I hope it is rather than one I think it is. And I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Yes. Yeah, that does make sense. I'm actually going to go, like I did with the Welsh, I'm going to go against the British side. And I'm going to go, well, they probably don't even want, Scottish people probably don't even want me to acknowledge them as British. They probably want to be acknowledged as independent, don't they? So I don't feel guilty. I'm going to say 2-0 to Czech Republic, because I think Scotland are going to struggle to score in this tournament.
2-0 to the Czech Republic.
But I've got no idea whether Czech Republic could be like Scotland. They might not be able to score a goal, so it could be 0-0, but I'm going to go 2-0.
That won't do you any favours, that prediction. I have felt the heat of Scotland Twitter over the past 2 weeks or so. And your prediction there is going to do you no favours. You're
damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. I mean, I've got nothing against the Welsh, the Scottish. I lived in Ireland. I've got nothing against Northern Ireland either. But let's be honest, they hate England and they want us to lose. And I don't. I remember, let me go through this. So I remember I always used to want the Republic of Ireland to do well. I remember Scotland. What was Scotland? Scotland were in Italian 90. I wanted them to do well. I didn't really care about them in 96 because they were in our group. So I wanted Wales to do well in 2016 when they got to the semis. So I've got nothing against them, but they never want us to do well.
No. They certainly don't. All I said, and do you know what's quite weird about it? I would say that it's one of the least controversial things that perhaps I've ever said, and yet it really caught on. I said, whilst on an episode of The Kickoff, we were talking about a fullback, who should play England's fullback, and my exact quote was, "Well, if you're playing somebody like France, I think that you go for Reece James. But if you're playing Scotland and you're looking to score 5 or 6, then I think you go Alexander-Arnold." That got clipped. You understand the perils, I know you do, of being clipped, right?
Oh yeah, totally out of context most of the time.
Yeah. God, it just went. It was one of them. It was just. Like,
I mean, we could almost drop some in here and guarantee they'll be tweeted by 6 o'clock. Like,
yeah,
an idiot would say, clip. Scott McTominay's probably the best midfielder in the Premier League, clip. But that would just be stupid. And that's how it works. That's how you clip out of context, everybody. David says, any Scotch whiskey or iron brew to wet the whistle for the game. And Patrick Schick is a very decent player. He could be a thorn in the side of the Scottish defence, says Mr. Majax. And also, hi guys, two of my favourite creators. Can't wait for Mark to be back on the kickoff. Would love to see you guys debate about Conte being on United States. I was going to mention the kickoff anyway, because I know that they do fantastic stuff on there. And look, yeah, I'd love to get back on there. Obviously, my arch enemy Adam is on there now. But no, in all seriousness, we play. Thing is, people think, well, I don't know whether we get on, but we played together on the same team at Old Trafford, and we beat with Ji-Sung Park and Wes Brown, and he absolutely clattered. I think he clattered either Wes Brown or Ji-Sung Park in the first half.
Adam was talking about this the other day, weirdly.
And I said to him, I went up to him and I said, we've got a bit of a past. And I went, well, that's one for the trophy cabinet, isn't it? When you do something like that. And he clattered him. He absolutely clattered him. I can't remember whether it was Wes Brown or Ji-Sung Park.
It was Park. I mean, he was telling the story to me the other day, and I'm sure it was Ji-Sung Park. I was like, why did you his comeback was brilliant. Because I was like, why on earth are you injuring Ji-Sung Park in a friendly? And his response was, did we win the trophy? I was like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, and he did. He
tell you what, though,
silverware at Old Trafford.
I googled them both afterwards, and actually, I think they're both younger than me. But I got 2 assists. I had a really good game in the first half. I played this 1-2. I'm running through 1-on-1, and when you got too much time, like the centre back's never catching me. I'm running towards the goal, and I just thought I'm going to get as close as possible to make sure I'd score. And normally I would have hit it, and I the bloody centre back just stuck his foot out and ended up bloody miskicking it. And then in the second half, I'm right in. We've just kicked off, by the way. Second half, Stretford end, edge of the box. Someone's got it on the right wing. I'm arriving like Lampard. I says, pass it. They pass it to me. I look behind me. I'm right. I'm going to really take my time. It's coming across the box. No one's going to close me down. Right in front of the Stretford end. Just about to hit it. Ji-Sung Park comes from nowhere, takes the ball and runs up the pitch. And I'd look behind me. I was like, talk about iron lung or whatever they call him. He was nowhere near me, and he'd obviously seen the danger. And like bloody talk about meet Dan James. He just came from absolutely nowhere, and that was my moment. That was it. I was there. I was like slow motion. This is it.
Ji-Sung Park has robbed you of that moment.
But we did win, and I got 2 assists, but I didn't score, and that pissed me off a bit. But
you take that though. You've won silverware at Old Trafford.
I was man of the match, definitely. Even McCullough would give me man of the match. Yeah, he probably wouldn't, but
mate, man of the match at Old Trafford. Think how many professional football players have never been that. Think how many Manchester United players have never been that, and you have been.
It was great. Just for people who want to know, because we haven't got a timer, we are at 1 minute and 15 seconds, 16, 17, 18, 19. 20. So yeah, excited about this game, looking forward to it. And would love to go back on the kick. If you're doing stuff for the Euros, I know you did the England game yesterday, and you're just doing the good ones, aren't you? You're not like me who has to do everything.
We've got a really busy schedule on the kickoff. It's going very well. We've got a lot of full shows booked in, but we've also got, do you know the mini shows that when Lawrence and I, so for example,
I've seen them before.
Tomorrow night for the France-Germany game, Lawrence and I are covering it.
Oh, you're doing it like that? Yeah. So that's not a big one. Yeah,
which is great fun. But no, it's obviously, I know the lads love having you on. So yeah, see if you can coordinate some diaries with Lawrence and Mr. Geordie himself.
Yeah, no, I'd like to get back involved, but the great thing about the area is I've asked a few people. It's funny. I'm gonna do him. I'm gonna do it publicly. I don't care. We both know Thogden, and we both know what he was like. Oh, Robbie wanted Payne to come on. I messaged him to come and do this. Right? If message about anything else, and he'll instantly reply. I said, why don't you or your dad come on and do what Rory's doing here? He didn't reply, and I thought, I wonder if because he wants paying, but he doesn't want to say, I'll do it if I'm being paid just because of the Robbie thing. So you have to find out, Thogden, if you're watching. But it's nice to get some people that I admire and like in the space to come on and do it. And I think
Thogden's a great guy. I went to the England game with him. I went to Middlesbrough for the England-Romania game.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, not the most inspiring performance, but I had a great day. Just Thogden and I all the way to Middlesbrough and back in one day.
Sleep over there?
No, we did it all in one day, because I drove back and immediately it was the Floyd Mayweather
Paul
fight.
Yeah.
So we sort of covered that straight away. So yeah, it was a full on day. But no, I'm sure. Do you know what? Text him again. Send a nudge text to Thog, because I'm sure he'd love to
tell him. This is the great thing about live stuff is if you drop something in there, loads of people.
Do you think someone will tweet him? Anybody watching now, tweet Thogden and say, "Rory says Mark, you clown."
Yeah.
You clown.
I mean, to be honest, I'd rather have Thog Dad, because he's more my age group. But
he's very funny, isn't he?
Yeah.
I met him at the Stamford Bridge. You know, the protests around the Super League.
Yeah.
The first time I ever met Thog Dad, he was like leading the revolt at Stamford Bridge. It was I
saw all that. Yeah.
It was very weird way to kind of be introduced to him. But yeah, really nice guy as well.
So we started off here 4 minutes in, pretty much similar. I mean, it's at Hampden Park, so they get that home advantage, probably 25% in there like Wembley. But again, a lot of these games so far, Rory, the first halves have been quite equal, but you sort of see a team that's probably got the momentum for the second half, like Netherlands did yesterday, Belgium and Italy, but they look quite evenly matched. I still think Czech Republic will be technically better than Scotland, but we'll see. I'm going with a 2-0 win, but they've got to have something up front. That's what worries me.
Yes. Yeah, look, I think that these games, particularly like the first 20 minutes, they're often cagey, aren't they? Because there's so much jeopardy. There's so much at stake. If you lose,
you're out in this group, I think, as well, like you said.
You can't, like, you're so fearful of losing your first game because, look, say Scotland lose today, say it goes badly for Scotland. Scotland are in here. Ooh. Say it goes badly for Scotland. It makes the England game like England have the potential to eliminate Scotland and put themselves through in the same breath.
Oh, it'd be lovely.
It would be.
I mean, there's no niceness about that. I was saying this last night. I think England against Scotland will go one of two ways. It'll either be the typical tight game, and you think back to Wales in the last Euros where we had to beat them with Sturridge in the last minute, and even that 96 game, that was a close game. They missed a bloody penalty at 1-0, and then we went up the other end with Gaza. So it'll either be really close or we'll just absolutely batter them.
Yes,
we've got better players.
And I, do you know what? Off the back of the performance yesterday, where do you sit on the performance yesterday, Mark, for the England performance? I thought we were brilliant, but I seem to be getting a lot of people don't.
Well, it's good that you think that. You tell me why you think it was good then.
I thought that it was an absolutely brilliant performance on the scale of what we are currently doing. It's the first game of a tournament, so we have to take a lot of things into consideration. But on that scale, I thought we were dominant. I thought we created a minimum of 4 good chances. You know, we scored the goal. Phil Foden hit the post. Raheem Sterling missed a sitter. Harry Kane missed a sitter. We also kept a clean sheet. We also kept Croatia at bay. I never felt that the scoreline was a threat. I never felt like we weren't going to get the 3 points. I thought it was a really complete performance with some jewels in the crown. Calvin Phillips shone. I thought Tyrone Mings had a very good game, and I'm not a huge fan of his. I think there's loads of positives, but I said that on a review, and the comments on my YouTube video were not supportive of my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest, I was probably a little bit the other way. I agree with you that it was a really good performance. I mean, this game at the moment is very, very equal with no chances in it, so we're not missing anything. It's a bit of a midfield battle. But I agree with you that I think that for an opening game, if you get 3 points, that's always a positive, especially for England. I mean, I totally disagree with people like Gary Neville saying that, you know, Southgate's key to any success for England, other than the fact that he's a manager, which is obvious. But I actually think, I said it before the game and I stand by it, I think if England win this Euros, which I don't believe they will, they'll do it despite Southgate. I think if you plonked a decent coach into that squad, we'd have a better chance of winning it than we've got with Southgate. And that's what I feel. And I felt the Trippier thing at left back has just been totally and utterly ignored by the media when it's ridiculous. He's got no left foot. He's literally right-footed at left back. That annoyed me. Apart from that, and not much else bothered me. I just think that was really poor from an international manager to put a right back at left back.
There are. Look, you can make a case for that. I wouldn't have done that, especially when you consider that the two options are Luke Shaw, who was Manchester United's best player, had the season of his life. Ben Chilwell just won a European Cup. So when you have those two on the bench, it's also potentially quite a bad message to send out, because what's Luke Shaw thinking there? What's Ben Chilwell thinking there? I think if Ben Chilwell gets in ahead of Shaw or vice versa, it's very easy for them to deal with that, because it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. They're both very good players. But ultimately, if we're playing right backs at left back, those two players aren't going to get a game, are they? Because what can they, they can't compete with that. So I agree that was a weird one. I probably agree with your hesitancy regarding Gareth Southgate. But all of those things aside, I do truly believe that yesterday was a borderline brilliant performance. Had England scored a second, I think that the entire narrative would be different, and we were deserving of a second.
It wasn't to me. I mean, a lot of people saying it's a bit like Ollie Ball. I think that the similarities between United and England yesterday were quite stark. The reality was that I think defensively we never looked like we were going to concede, but did we create enough chances? Probably not. On the balance of the play, I think we deserved to win it 1-0. But I just, there is that nagging feeling that, as somebody who lived through the 2002 to 2006 era, I can't stand people calling it the golden generation. It was managed. It was Sven-Göran Eriksson. He was Mr. Conservative, and he misused the talent that we have. And I'm just very worried of that happening. But the positive is we win. The second positive is it's a tournament, and you must grow into a tournament. And I was saying this. I don't know what your thoughts are, Rory. Do you think that's pretty much his best 11, or do you have aspirations that someone comes in? Because I was using 98, where Beckham and Owen didn't actually start against Tunisia, and they worked their way in. And I think, I think if we hadn't scored that goal, which was a little bit fortunate, great one by Phillips, you sensed that he was going to get Grealish on. You sensed he was going to maybe bring a Bellingham on, maybe a Luke Shaw on, certainly a Rashford. And I'm just hoping that that's a start, and the team will evolve. That maybe there's a couple of players that aren't, I mean, obviously Maguire, but maybe there's a couple of players that are going to, the left back comes in, whether it's Chilwell or Shaw. Maybe Grealish takes the Foden spot if Foden doesn't step up. So I think that hopefully we're just it's a good result, and then we're going to evolve through the tournament.
Do you know so look, it's very difficult to make a case for this, because the case I'm going to make is against the match winner. But for me, Jack Grealish is a far better player and a far better option than Raheem Sterling. I just don't think Raheem Sterling has done enough to play for England. I think the fact that Guardiola doesn't always play him. I know he played.
Would you go Mount, Grealish and Foden behind Kane then? Is that what you do?
I think I would do 2 banks of 3. So the 3 forwards would be Foden, Kane, Grealish. And behind them, I think Calvin Phillips has made himself undroppable.
Yeah.
Behind him, Mount, Phillips, Rice. I think that's a really strong front 6. I think it's really strong. I think it offers so much protection to the back line. And in terms of scoring goals and being liquid up front, and lots of interchange and lots of skill and retaining possession, I think it's brilliant. I really do think it's a great front 6 there.
The thing is, I said that, but I think it was Blightning in the live chat just said there, you need the pace though. And I think, who made me think about this? I would have gone with what you said there. And then I was on Twitter, and Spencer said on Twitter, all these people saying put Grealish, Kane and Foden and Mount as your front 4. You need that option to knock the ball over the top. And we did see that a few times with Sterling over the top. And I think maybe that's probably something where I would say, I probably do agree that you need that. But what I don't want to see, I never want to see Sterling and Rashford on the same pitch at international football. You've got to have these. We're going to see Portugal tomorrow. You've got to have these Bernardo Silvas, Bruno Fernandes, João Felix. In international football, it's tight, and you need the Mounts, the Fodens, and the Grealishes. Yeah. Sterling and Rashford should be swapping the role, not both on the same pitch for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And look, you do occasionally need the option of a ball over the top. And I suppose Sterling or Rashford will be better at dealing with that than, say, Phil Foden. But that's one very niche example of where Raheem Sterling is a better option than Jack Grealish. It's probably, and credit to Spencer for finding it, and I think he makes a valid point, but I think that Spencer has probably found the only area where I would prefer Sterling over Grealish.
Yeah, Grealish for me, he should be starting ahead of Foden, and I like Foden but I just think Grealish has just got that. He's banging that area at 25, 26, where he knows his game, he's matured, and this is his platform. But unfortunately, I've always felt that Southgate just doesn't quite fancy Grealish for whatever reason.
Do you think Grealish starts against Scotland?
I don't think he'll make any changes. I really don't. I think he'll stick with the same 11. I think Trippier will be left back and they'll be the same team again.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, Steve Locke says, if Southgate isn't for you, then who is for England? I mean, the reality is I've seen enough of Southgate over 2 tournaments to really not think he'll win as a trophy. But I don't really know enough about Southgate in relation to whether he changes his team quite regularly or sticks with the same 11. So, do you think he will make changes?
I think that you have to make changes because you have to keep everybody fresh. So even if he thinks that his best team is the one that we saw yesterday, if that would be his dream team going into a final, in order to potentially play that dream team in a final, you can't play, what will we have played there? Sunday, Friday, and then, I think it's too much. I think that you will have to rotate in order to preserve the best team, and also a bit of harmony in the ranks. I think people.
To be honest, though, if we beat Scotland 6 points, he'll pick the reserves against Czech Republic, won't he? Because no one's going to get 6 points apart from England.
I think that's probably true. And then we're just relying on something brilliant and wild happening in the France, Portugal, Germany group, aren't we? Somehow Hungary finish third. That's what we're relying on. We need Hungary to just get 3 draws and end up third, and then we win the group.
Oh, first shot, save.
Good save.
Thought it was a foul on McGinn, but they've worked it into the box, cut back, and it's Schick who gets the shot off, and keeper just tips it round. Not a gilt-edged chance, but he connects with it quite well from the cut back. And you expect the keeper to save that, and he climbs it around the box. Good
save. Old keeper, good save.
Corner.
Yeah, starting to mount a bit of pressure here, the Czechs now, aren't they? They kind of weathered an early storm from Scotland, and they're getting a bit of a foothold.
Cleared the corner. Well, I was just going to say there, we spent 15 minutes, and most of it we've not been talking about the game because it's been not a bad game. It's just been a very, a battling game where, that's the trouble where 2 teams are quite evenly matched. You tend to not have many shots because they're cancelling each other out. But that was a good bit of action there, 15 minutes in. Yeah,
it's starting to come alive because I think for the first 15 minutes, both teams are aware that they're feeling each other out. They're desperate not to lose. But I also think as much as there's a load of pressure on them not to lose, someone needs to win this game.
Yeah.
Both of these teams will probably be. Is it fair to say that both of these teams will be looking at this fixture as their easiest fixture?
Yeah, 100%. And I think, we sing about coming home, but if you lose this, you're going home. You're going to have to pull out. I mean, certainly for Scotland, if they lose this, you're not going to fancy Scotland to beat Croatia or England. I mean, interestingly with Czech Republic, I was looking at some of this before. Their recent results for Czech Republic are they got beat 4-0 by Italy just before, but and they got beat by got beat by Wales. But going back further to that, because these pre-tournaments are a bit bit dodgy. They've drawn with Belgium. Beat Slovakia. They did actually lose to Scotland back in the Nations League twice. So, actually, I should have done my research, Rory. Can I change my score prediction? They struggle to score goals, basically, Czech Republic.
Right. Yeah, that is significant that Scotland done the double over them in the Nations League.
Yeah.
That is significant. However, what was also significant is the fact that you said they drew with Belgium. I thought Belgium looked good, really good.
Yeah. I didn't really watch all of that because I was actually out at a barbecue, but good move
Chance
from
for
Scotland
Dykes.
there. Yeah, Robertson with the
QPR boy up front. Oh,
Similar sort of chance, actually.
good
Apart from it, it's
chance,
not a
actually,
cutback.
Once you've got there, once you've got across the centre half, once you've reached the ball first and got ahead, I think you have a responsibility then to make sure that you hit the target.
Yeah.
Like the hard
wide.
bit there is to get there, and the fact that he got there, he's got to do a little bit better.
Of course, Steve Clarke, manager of Scotland, ex-Chelsea.
Chelsea right back, brilliant. He's a brilliant player for us, Mark. Really brilliant.
I do remember him playing. I don't remember whether he was any good.
He played in a fairly average. Well, he would have played against you. He would have played against Manchester United in the
94. Yeah,
94 Cup final. Yeah, he would have
Frank
played
Sinclair.
in that. Frank Sinclair, Erland Johnson,
Eddie Newton,
John Spencer, Gavin Peacock. Yeah, the glory days.
We battered you.
Yeah, you battered us. But do you know what was a shame? That season, we done you obviously won the league, but we done the double over you that season. We beat you home and away. Gavin Peacock scored 2 1-0 wins.
Don't remember that.
Yeah, it's Gavin.
Yeah,
do you know what my overriding? I actually went to the game, but do you know what my overriding memory of it is? Eric Cantona had his arm in a cast.
Oh yeah. I remember.
He had his arm in a cast, and he hit the crossbar from the halfway line at Stamford Bridge. He lobbed the keeper, and it bounced just before it hit the bar. It bounced up into the bar. It's mad, isn't it? Like, if you ask me who scored for England yesterday, I'd go, give me a sec. But I can talk about Eric Cantona hitting the bar from the halfway line at Stamford Bridge in 1993, as if it actually were yesterday.
Billy Gilmore Super Sub says Scott S. And guys, need your honest opinion. I strongly can't believe we need to properly lose a game. Cannot finish first and face a team in the group of death. We'll talk about that, Andrew C. Scotland to win 2-1 and then beat England 2-1. I'm Scottish, says Wolfie. Well, I was actually having a chat with Ricky, who does some stuff on the United Stand this morning, and he was saying the same. Oh, we might need to finish second in our group. But I don't really understand where they're coming at, because first and second of our group plays first and second of the group of death anyway. So you're not avoiding France or Portugal or Germany. You're going to be playing them anyway.
I think the logic is, I kind of understand what people are saying, but I passionately disagree. I think that we have to go 100 miles an hour, finish top of the group, and bring on whoever. I think that has to be the mentality. Maybe
France will win that group, so you don't want to. If we finish second in our group, we'll be playing France. So I think France will win that group. So avoid France. All right, it'll be Portugal, but you know what, or Germany. But
yes, again, do you know what I'm holding on to? I'm just holding on to something mad happening. And do you remember? Look, Hungary. 1998, France won the World Cup. Do you remember Mark 2002? Do you remember Senegal, the first game of the tournament?
Yeah.
And I think it was Senegal. And
could run this. Oh no, he's boxing.
Yes, they've crashed into each other, 2 Scottish players. But look, France have it in them. They're an amazing team, but they do have it in them to be slightly fiery with one another. They do have it in them to press the self-destruct button, as they proved in 2002. They got 1 point and went home as World Cup champions, as World Cup holders. So I'm just relying on somehow something. Hungary get 3 draws and end up finishing third, and England play Hungary. But England must finish top of the group, especially now.
Yeah, I agree.
What's that going to do for the confidence if we now end up dropping enough points to not finish top of the group?
You can't. Tournament football, you can't switch it on and off either, can you? I mean, I remember the World Cup in 2014. We were talking about we were going to get out that group, and we bloody didn't. Thomas Webster says, what more could you want? Pizza, football, Goldbridge, Rory, keep up the good work, guys. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. I know it's, I don't even know if, apparently it's not a public holiday in Scotland. They're on about letting the schools go early, but 2:00 games. I'm all for that, Rory. Actually, I think that you're in a tournament when you're playing that. Although I did find something out yesterday. I was a very young lad watching Italia 90. I don't know whether you watched it, but the Italia 90 World Cup format was exactly the same as what they're doing here. 24 teams, not 32. And 4 of the 6 groups, third place, go through. And there was no games before 4:00, even though it was in Italy. It was just 4:00 and 8:00 kickoffs.
Really? Yeah, that was a World Cup. It's not one I can quite remember, but it's one that, as an adult, I've looked back on it so fondly. It was an amazing World Cup, wasn't it?
I'm getting a bit of pelters here in the chat. Both of you have got no clues, says Aditya. I mean, that's by the standard, but no, it's all about the group stage. Logan says, if we come second, we play second in Group E. If we come first, we play second of Group of Death. Come third, you play first of Group C. So it's a little bit more intricate than I thought.
Right.
Might have to do some research on that while we're live. I actually thought if you finish first, you play second in group of death, and if you finish first, not. So second place, Spain's group. So actually, I get what people are saying then there. If you finish second, you're probably getting
you play a different right.
Yeah.
But you can't. I think it's a very dangerous thing to go into any game and not do your best to. You've got to try and win the group, haven't you? Regardless of permutations, you have to try and win the group.
Yeah, and you're going to have to play all these teams at some point anyway. When somebody says if you finish second, you're probably going to play. France in the quarterfinals anyway. So I mean, Newsflash says England first, France first, Germany second, Portugal third, England versus. I don't know what that means. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. But I will do some research on that one. Second place, second in Groups E, but we play France in quarterfinals. Yeah, just get on with it. Get on with it. I think we'll win the group now anyway. Even if we tried not to, I think that win against Croatia probably means that unless we should do.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only approach as well. Surely that is the only approach.
Ball over the top there for Dykes, but he couldn't take it down. These teams at the moment, 25 minutes in, thinking about England and the game, they're not. I don't think England are going to have many, apart from the fact that Scotland's just going to be basically an international derby. Actually, looking at them, they're not really teams that I think England should have massive problems against. No.
And also, I mean, there hasn't really, I mean, there's been a few half chances, one save, but there's nothing much has happened, has it, in this game? And that suits England perfectly. That suits England. I think a draw in this game will be the ideal preparation for England going into the game against Scotland.
And you know what you say? I mean, AJ Forrest says it's not. All our games start at 9 a.m. That's a bit crap. If he's obviously in America.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. in New York. Yeah. But they won't all start at 9 a.m. because they don't all start at the same time here. But that result for England yesterday might in time become a better result, because if Croatia turn up and smash Scotland and Czech Republic, then Croatia are actually a better side than maybe people thought they were yesterday. It's a bit like Turkey. People have written Turkey off, but if Turkey, batter Switzerland and they batter Wales, then that just meant that Italy were a very good side. So, you don't necessarily learn everything about every team in the first game. Yes, exactly.
Look, the way that people do it. Look, before the tournament, it became very much a hipster's choice, didn't it? People would go in, Turkey, outsiders. As soon as that game against Italy finished, everyone was like, Turkey, rubbish. Look, neither are true. They were probably never genuine outsiders to win the tournament, but equally, they're not rubbish now either. They're still a very good team who I think will still progress from the group. People are just so reactionary with it.
Yeah, and I picked Italy before. I mean, I've always loved Italian football. And I just felt that with Italy, they don't really have a star player, but they've got an amazingly good squad. So
yeah, it's the midfield, isn't it, for Italy? It's that midfield, Locatelli, Jorginho. It's a solid
Still
midfield.
Got Verratti to come back.
Yeah, exactly.
Barella's a good player as well.
Yes,
I love Jorginho. I love Jorginho. I mean, United lack that sort of player. What's your thoughts on Jorginho, actually? Because I said the other day, well, not the other day, it was a few weeks ago, I basically used him as an example, him and Alan from Everton. I said, basically, this is what United miss. Somebody who can just take the ball off the back four and, protect the back four. And I think Jorginho would massively improve.
I obviously agree that Jorginho is a very talented player, and I think there's a place for him in a particular team. But the problem that Chelsea have is that we have him and Kovacic, who, for me, neither of them do what I want. Like, what I like from a midfielder? It's, think about over the years, Frank Lampard, Steve Gerrard, Patrick Vieira, Roy Keane. I like box to box, 15 goals a season, loads of tackles, decent in the air. That's what I want from a midfielder. And Jorginho isn't that, but neither is Kovacic. Like, Chelsea had a midfield once that went, at one point it would have been Essien, Michael Ballack, Frank Lampard. That midfield has 60 goals. Out of Kovacic, Kante and Jorginho, you're probably going to get 6, 7. Like if you take penalties away, virtually none. So I think that Jorginho is a very good player, but he doesn't bring enough to a midfield for what I want. And when you then play him, because Kante's had a lot of injury problems this season, when you then play him with Kovacic, I just think that they both do a lot of the same thing, and they both don't do a lot of the same thing. Like there's no presence, there's no hunger, there's no desire for goals. So for me, it's not quite, I don't give him the love that a lot of people think I should. And boy, do I get some stick for that.
Would you be happy with Declan Rice coming to Chelsea?
Yes. I think he's a brilliant player.
But
I think he's
it's interesting that, because I look at that and I'm like, look, I know for a fact that Declan Rice wants to come to Chelsea, as I'm sure you do. But I do look at what you've got and I think, why would you spend 60, 70 million pounds on Declan Rice when you've got Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic? I'm not saying that Declan Rice isn't better than them, but that money, well, Chelsea have got a lot of money, I suppose. That's the point. Oh, hold on a minute. If he switches that quick enough, they're in. But it took a bit
it's
too
just
long.
too slow, isn't it? They're just one pass short, the Czechs.
Yeah. Although, he's got to be offside.
Still in there.
Dušek.
Scrappy, isn't it, this Scotland-Czech Republic game? Very scrappy.
Very, very evenly matched teams, these two. Like you said, if you lose it, you're going to be heartbroken. But, yeah.
I think although it's finely, delicately poised, I feel like the Czech Republic are starting to ask more questions.
They look like they're technically better, which is surprising, really. Because
they're on the front foot more, aren't they?
Yeah. Dino says, Jorginho lacks height and mobility, is good at what he does without being great. I tell you what, you drop him in that United team, he'd revolutionise us because we don't actually have anybody to do that role. I'm not saying he's the best player in that role, but United just don't have anyone to do that. Yes,
but you would need to pair him up with somebody better than the two that you currently have playing there, or it would just be another problem. Like he needs to play alongside somebody who can do all his right. Like he needs to play alongside Frank Lampard. He needs to play alongside Michael Ballack. He can't play alongside Kovacic or Fred.
Yeah, we'd probably play him with Pogba.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, but then we
can't put Pogba in the midfield because we haven't got anyone who can do that sort of a job that shields the back
alongside Paul Pogba. I'd look all right as well. Like I think Paul Pogba's amazing. I think he's such a brilliant football player. But I appreciate there's other issues with Pogba, but just in terms of what he can do on the ball, I think he's mesmerising.
I'm looking forward to watching France tomorrow, actually. I think that I don't know what you think, but I really do think with France, it almost takes away from the tournament in a way. It's it's worse than the World Cup. I feared that France would be good in the World Cup, but I expect France to be. I just don't think it's the only thing that makes the tournament unexciting is that I just don't see how France can't win this tournament. I'm just hoping there's a couple of teams that can really give them a game. Although this is a chance, Robertson. Oh, he's bloody missed it. Should have gone low there. He's gone high.
I think he had time to have a touch as well.
Yeah, he's got acres of space. It comes across the penalty spot. He hits it first time, edge of the box, and he's not really connected on that. I don't know what he's placed it. He's tried to place it, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's a good save, but it's an easy save. It's straight down his throat. Good move from Scotland though to get in behind and have one over like that.
With those sort of shots, I would use my laces and just put everything through it. He's trying to
drill it into it. Oh, clever corner.
Oh, they've got it away now.
From Scotland, though. Impressive.
Look at the pace there from Hanley.
Yeah, Grant Hanley getting back. Yeah, I think that was impressive stuff from Scotland to ask those sorts of questions about the Czechs. To have a man over, Robertson on the overlap, coming in. Yeah, I think he needs to ping it, drill it into the far corner. That's what I would have done.
He's tried to curl it, hasn't he? He's tried to place it, but no handball anyway. McGinn was asking for a handball. Nothing's being looked at there. Marvo says, what a miss. I wouldn't say it was what a miss. It would have been a very good goal to finish, but I just think he could have hit it a little bit better. But they needed that because, like you say, I think the Czechs were just starting to have a lot of possession. But then again, that happened with England yesterday as well. 10 minutes after half time, I was like, we can't get a touch on the ball. And then they just seemed to switch off Croatia. And then Phillips rode the 2 tackles and then Sterling's through 1-on-1. Yeah,
the goal came at a really good time, didn't it? Because it's just when Kovacic and Modric were starting to find their feet.
Yeah, yeah.
So the goal came at exactly when we needed it, and it took the stuffing out of Croatia entirely, I thought.
Yeah, yeah. They're well. It's what everyone said about Croatia, isn't it? They're an aging team, and I think on a hot day in London, they sort of fell away, didn't they, in that last half an hour? He's through again, Robertson. Nice cross. Oh, I tell you what, they're queuing up there, and it just lands on there. It's like playing FIFA. That you put a good cross in, you got loads of men in the box, and it always lands on the head of the defender, and that's exactly what happened there.
Yeah, it was a good cross as well. I think Robertson is relying on somebody gambling. You know, one of his Scotland teammates needs to be gambling and getting across the first man.
Yeah, yeah. Good turn here. Is it Schick? He's done well. Skips it past McTominay. Strong. He's done well. Play on. Oh, and then he gives it away. Terrible.
God, the quality is just not there, is it? Like just very wasteful when they get possession, the Czechs.
And this is why it's very easy to predict who will make the final and everything, because ultimately, I think we'd all love to see a Czech Republic or a Turkey or a Croatia or someone be a dark horse of the tournament. But ultimately, it's passes like that. It's just that lack of quality that let them down.
But you see, this is why I feel fairly confident about England, because I think that, you know, when it comes to those moments, I think that we have elite level football players in those positions. I think every player ahead of the holding midfielders are world class. Is that too generous?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you look at who's on the bench yesterday: Marcus Rashford and
Jack Grealish.
Yeah. Even people like Saka and Sancho didn't even make the bench. We've got some good. I don't really have a massive. I mean, I wanted Grealish to start, but I was happy for Mount and Foden. The funny thing is, I think over the years you always have your favourites, don't you? Grealish is probably my favourite, but I'm a massive fan of Mason Mount. He's really opened my eyes this year, and Phil Foden is a fantastic player. I like all three. I really do. I'm not really bothered who he picks as long as he picks two of them.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that as well. I think Calvin Phillips has made himself completely undroppable as well. I was so worried when I was at Middlesbrough the previous with Thogden. I was so worried when I was up there because Henderson came on and looked dreadful. Really, he missed the game where he missed the penalty, and I thought that England's chances, any hope that England had of controlling the midfield, I thought that we were very reliant on Jordan Henderson finding his form, being that guy, because the midfield that we have is a very good midfield, but it's a very young midfield, very inexperienced. And I thought that Jordan Henderson, captain Liverpool to the European Cup, captain Liverpool to the Premier League, he captain England to a semi-final. He is what we need. He is the piece of the jigsaw that we don't have. Calvin Phillips can't do what Henderson can do, because you can't fake experience. Turns out that Calvin Phillips is a very mature, very wise individual. And I'm not too fussed about Henderson now. I think Calvin Phillips keeping fit is essential, but Henderson's great to have around, but I don't think it's essential that he plays at all.
No, and I think how can you really be fit when you've played 45 minutes in a pre-season game and not played since February? It's like, in tournament football, he's never going to have that match sharpness. And I just hope the same with Maguire, that ultimately, I know they're very important players, but are they fit? And we've made that mistake time and time again with people like Beckham and Rooney taking them to tournaments. Owen Stanley says, Werner golden boot guaranteed, just to annoy Rory. And why no credit for the Swiss? They played a brilliant game against Wales for 70 minutes. Embolo and Severich can't finish. Wales got lucky to tie in VAR. We'll come back to that delegate official. But Werner for golden boot, you're not a big fan of Werner, Rory?
No, I'm not. Do you know what? A lot of people have placed that bet, and they decide to always tweet me the slip, send me the slip of their bet. I was like, look, I don't care. Also, I hope I'm wrong about Timo Werner. I would love Timo Werner to win the golden boot at Stamford Bridge next season. I'd love that. I just can't see it happening. I just don't. Do you ever have that mark with any Man United players where you're just like, you're just not good enough? You're just not.
I'm looking at one now, Scott McTominay, just gets the ball, looks forward and passes it backwards. And I'm like, that's the difference between being a top four player and being a Newcastle midfielder. It's not. And people say, oh, you're being harsh, but it's the difference between playing it safe and making something happen. Bruno Fernandes gives the ball away a lot because he's trying to make something happen.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But Look, I remember when, like, I don't know, one of the best football players I've ever seen play live, right? I don't think he gets the credit he deserves, was Arjen Robben. He was absolutely amazing at Chelsea, right, those couple of years. Unplayable at times. The season before he broke his foot at Ewood Park, and he was absolutely unplayable. Chelsea fans now are very kind to Robben and look back at the brilliance that we witnessed. But at the time, people sitting around me used to get really annoyed with him. They used to bark at him and shout at him because he'd give the ball away a lot. And you're like, yes, you idiot. He does give the ball away a lot, because if he doesn't give it away, we probably score a goal. So it's worth him trying it 10 times, because on the 11th time, we score. And that's why it doesn't work every time, because it's so pivotal to a game. It's easy to just not be ambitious and knock the ball 5 yards and then finish the game like Jorginho does with the most passes ever in a Premier League match. You're like, yeah, mate, you've knocked it to your centre half 5 yards 50 times. So what?
Yeah, I agree. I think that, but you know, in relation to Werner, it's quite interesting because I did quite like him. But just talking, it sort of carries on the Werner conversation for a moment. But it's interesting. We were talking about this before the game, weren't we? I think, yeah, again, we're seeing another game where if you stuck, and I'm not even talking about a Benzema, if you stick, and I'm looking forward to watching Isaac for Sweden actually later, because I think in Sweden, the thing that might make Sweden different to Czech Republic and Croatia and everyone is that they've actually got a goal scorer, because I think if you stuck an Isaac up front for Austria or even Scotland, that their whole chances would change. Neither team have that quality up front, and we've seen that a few times in this tournament already. It's that quality up front is really lacking, and it's interesting being a Chelsea fan, Rory, because that's two things that you and the two best teams, well, Man City and Chelsea, arguably the two best teams in Europe because they've just competed it, both looking for a top-class striker. And actually, is that something in the game generally that, you know, football goes in cycles? Is there a general lack in, you know, really good top-quality strikers in football at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. I think the reason that centre forwards cost so much money is because they are so essential to any form of success. You know, you are reliant upon a goal scorer. Everybody's so reliant on them, and they are actually worth their weight in gold. When you get one, they are worth their weight in gold, and it'll be very interesting, like, to see how Manchester City cope, because Manchester City are they've never had to buy big. They've had Sergio Aguero, one of the best who've ever played the game. They've had Sergio Aguero at their disposal for the best part of a decade. So now is the first time that they're going to have to spend big money. And people always say about City that they don't spend big money. Hang on. They spend massive money, but they spend lots of 50s, 60s, but they never do the 110s, the 120s.
Yeah.
But the reason that they never do that is because they've never had to, because they've always had Aguero. So now they don't. You know, Aguero said that he's bettered himself or going to a bigger club or something like that in Barcelona. So now he's doing that. It will be interesting to see what they do. But I definitely think Chelsea need to spend, because whatever spin people want to put on it.
Goal. Schick. He's done it. We said they needed a quality striker, and Schick. It's shit for Chelsea. It's shit for Chelsea. It's shit for Scotland. Scottish fans are shouting shit, but the Czechs are shouting Schick. It's 1-0 to Czech Republic, and it's a lovely goal. We're just talking about. It's funny, Rory, because people in the chat were saying you're sleeping on Schick, and I'm like, I don't know whether I am. Well, we are. Quality cross, lovely header.
Glorious cross in, wasn't it?
Yeah. Watch it back.
Yeah.
Don't be offside.
Can't ask for more than that. Look.
No, he can't be offside. He's crossing it. Oh, it's a lovely header. Keeper can't
get it. It's a lovely cross. It's a lovely goal. So overall, it's a lovely goal.
Is it Kufal who gets the crossing as well?
Is it Kufal?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Look, I told you, West Ham will be playing.
I tell you what, he's gone up with two. I tell you what, I love to see that. It's an old-fashioned number 9. He could play in the 50s there. That is absolutely brilliant. He's gone up with the two centre-backs, outbeat them, and it's a lovely. I love a good header as well, because he's used the angle of his head. It's a cracking header. That, if you like headers, that's up there with Yarmolenko yesterday, because that's a bloody good header. That one.
You're right. A towering header like that it's a thing of beauty. It's something that people don't acknowledge as, like, you know, certain things in football are glorious and they don't get the credit they deserve.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a 50-50 challenge, brilliant. Someone clearing the ball off the line, brilliant. A towering header, brilliant. It's not all about 60, 70-yard passes or or tiki taka. It's about that towering headers. Beautiful.
I'll tell you what, I'm really happy that we've got a first half goal as well, because this game had, the longer it was 0-0, the more it was going to carry on being a battle. Now, this is, like you say, it's squeaky bum time for the Scots, because you don't want to lose this game. So they've got to go for it a little bit, which opens it up a little bit as well. But a lovely header. Fair play to the lad. A really, really, really good header. Leverkusen striker, of course. I just want to see what his goal record was for Leverkusen. 29 goals from 29. So he's a 1 in 3 striker. Got 11 goals in 26 games for Czech Republic. Well, 12 in 27 now. So, yeah, he's a promising young player. Well, he's not that young, 25. But,
yeah, big moment there. Because you often get it, don't you? You often get a player that announces himself on the world stage. Yeah, I don't know. Do you remember when you bought Poborski, for example?
Yeah. Off a good Euros.
Exactly. Yeah, off a good Euros for the Czech Republic. It could be on the could be in the stars.
I'll tell you what, though, this is where you know your football knowledge, and this is why me and Rory have obviously made a career out of it, because I'm blowing wind up our own arse and talking out my arse, but actually, football. There's a lot of people who do Twitter compilations who will never show that goal. That goal is a bloody good goal. I'm telling you, the cross is absolutely perfect, and to go up against 2 Scottish centre-backs, they're like iron brew. They're made from girders. And, he's out-leaped them and then put it into the one area that the keeper can't get it. I think it's a fantastic header. He's not free when he goes for that, Rory. He's got 2 people on him.
No, he's also sandwiched between the 2 defenders. I mean, the 2 defenders have got to be gutted.
Yeah, he wouldn't be happy about that as a defender, yeah. Defensively, I don't know whether you're like that with Chelsea as well. There is never a goal that United score that's not somebody's fault. I will always find. And if I was Scottish, I'd be like, if that was like bloody Maguire and Lindelof there, I'd be bloody, it's them again. They're bloody useless.
You're right, though. You're right. Yeah. Look, I'd say occasionally there is a moment of genius. Yeah. Occasionally you just get a look. You know when Ronaldinho scored at Stamford Bridge, the jink past Czech, when nobody's done anything wrong there. The player's been closed down. The keeper's in the right position. It was just a thing of true genius and beauty. But they're very rare. They're very rare. Most goals are due to lacking concentration or genuine idiocy from somebody.
There is people always sing about, we've got great choices for England. You've got World in Motion, you've got It's Coming Home, you've got Vindaloo. McTominay, he's just tried to batter. He's Braveheart there. He's just tried to batter his way through. But they're on the attack here, Scotland. I'll come back to this point. It's McGinn. He's got a good left foot. And they're pushing there just before half time. Scotland do have a song as well. It's very similar to the England one. Instead of it's we're going home.
Instead of yeah.
I could see. I tell you what, I think they will. I think we might. I tell you what, Friday night it'd be a cracker in London. With cracker everywhere, because they'll be going home if they lose this and then they lose that.
Yeah. Well, England have the opportunity to secure themselves passage through to the next round and also eliminate Scotland. Can't ask for more than that.
I can't wait for it on Friday night. And as I said, it's banter. I've got nothing against the Scots, got nothing against the Welsh, but I really do think that the game. I know we've only seen 45 minutes of Scotland, and hopefully it is half time actually, so we can focus on that. Looking at that Scotland team, it's a bit like Chelsea playing Burnley. That's what I think. Chelsea got the quality, they got the better players. Burnley, Sean Dyche is going to he's going to get them up for it, but ultimately there might be a shock, but really it could be 3 or 4-0. So I think that's the sort of game we've got on Friday. It's good. They've got no. Sometimes I can't remember. Probably got to go back to Kenny Dalglish times for Scotland, but they've got no player that you go, oh, you've got to watch out for him. They're left back probably.
We're faking it, aren't we? We're faking. I mean, we're talking about Scott McTominay or John McGinn. Who look, McGinn I rate. McTominay I think is decent. But no, you're right. There isn't even the Wales team from a couple of years ago. It was average, but then there were the jewels in the crown. Ramsey and Bale. This Scotland side just hasn't got that. Just hasn't got that X factor. That one true, genuinely world class player. There's a lot of decent players, but overall that won't get you through.
No, and look, if England perform badly and, set pieces and everything like that, but very happy, very, very, I mean, look, we'll talk about something else in a minute, but the you sort of called it as well, Rory. You said it just felt like Austria had a little bit more quality. It was a close game, but you felt like they had the quality, and it was a moment of quality. And, maybe, well, Schick is a Bayer Leverkusen striker. I don't know where these Scottish strikers are from. Probably, I don't know.
QPR. The fellow up front for Scotland's Dyke. He's QPR. So
yeah. That's the difference. And that goal's a very, very good goal. Very, very good goal. And that's the difference between the two. And what I mean for Scotland in the second half, you almost think, well, throw caution to the wind, but that's not really them, is it? They're basically playing one up front, aren't they, with wing backs, with three at the back. They're not. They're a hard-working team. I just don't know whether they've got anything that they can chuck on that's going to make. I mean, even Gilmour from Chelsea is more of a sitting midfielder, isn't he? They don't really seem to have any. The sort of team that when they go 1-0 down, you worry.
See, I'm surprised that Billy Gilmour hasn't got a start. I'm really surprised because, there was talk that Steve Clarke wasn't even going to take him at one point, which just didn't make any sense to me because, Billy Gilmour is a genuinely world-class prospect. Of course, he's not world-class at the moment, but he is a genuinely world-class prospect. Scott McTominay is never going to be a world-class player. At this stage, it's part of the reason that I make a case for Phil Foden starting for England. Of course, there are players who have achieved more. Of course, there are players who have a better track record. Of course, you could even argue there are better options. Maybe Jack Grealish is a better player today than Phil Foden. But I would say Phil Foden because the unknown quality is worth its weight in gold in a tournament like this. And I actually think Billy Gilmour is that for Scotland. Putting him in there, he would ask questions that nobody would know that he was going to ask. He would be something that the Czechs hadn't prepared for. He would be an unknown quality. And I'm surprised that Steve Clarke hasn't been a little bit more brave, a little bit more ambitious, and given Gilmour an opportunity because on his day, I've seen him be brilliant. I've seen him dominate Fabinho. When Liverpool were at their best. He is a brilliant player. He's just effectively a child, but it's a risk worth taking for me.
Well, Robertson's probably the best chance, but well, let's see what Scotland can do in the second half. I'm not going to waste any more minutes on Scotland because I just think that that they've got to do better in the second half. And to be honest, it must be very difficult for Scotland because it's great for them to be in the tournament, but I just think you're going to struggle to score goals. I do. I think. If you're not,
yes,
you've got to score first, basically. And I think hopefully they can prove me wrong in the second half. But
they have no option, Mark.
Yeah,
they have no option. They have to. They have to get something out of this game. They can't lose this game and then have any genuine aspirations of getting anywhere in this tournament. If they lose this game, I honestly think they're out.
Very nice. Are you gentlemen going to any of the matches? We were talking about that just before the kickoff. I mean, we could have gone to plenty of England games. Been offered loads of tickets for it, but obviously work is it. Rory, you off to any of the other games yourself?
No, I'm not going. I haven't got tickets for any. I mean, I'm doing a lot of kickoffs. I would have loved to have gone to an England game, obviously, but I love doing the show. I love doing the kickoff, and it's great to watch it with my friends on that show. So. No, I'm not going to any. I'm fully on the kickoff. Will you go to any, Mark? Have you got anything booked?
No, I mean, I've never been in that position before. But I suppose if England were to get to a final, your mind starts to kick into the whole fact of, right, okay, it's great doing a watch-along with everybody, and I love the community, and we do lots of watch-alongs, but how many chances are you going to get to go to Wembley and watch England potentially win something? And I think I'd have that problem with the Champions League if United got there again. But, I suppose that's the flip side of the fact that we ain't getting to the Euros final. And although I think every game, people saying about not finishing top of the group. If you do finish top of the group, every game is at Wembley apart from the quarterfinal, which, whether it's France or Portugal you play, that's got to be an advantage.
Yeah, and look, England's record over the years in tournaments at Wembley is always very admirable. We were a Riesler paper away from going through against Germany when Paul Gascoigne slid in. Obviously in '66 we won it at Wembley. There's no reason why the Wembley thing. is so important, and that's another reason why it's worth finishing. Bring it on, whoever it is, but let's preserve our Wembley status. I think that's almost more important than who the opposition are.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, there's a super chat here from Jimmy. He says the transfer window and our technical director is doing punditry. The transfer window and our technical director is doing punditry.
I think it means the transfer window's open.
Who's technical director? Yours?
Don't know. I'll just assume that there's a word missing, because otherwise it's grammatically incorrect.
You can't think about technical. Oh, Darren Fletcher for United, isn't he? He's doing punditry. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you can turn your phone off for a couple of hours. McTominay ain't sweating it. He plays for the Comeback Kings. Show him how it's done, Scott. Yeah, could be second half FC, Scooby-Doo. What's this Icon Boogie thing I've just seen you tweeting, Rory?
Oh, I just tweeted that out. That's it was slightly provocative. The Scotland.
I thought it might be. I was like, I just didn't know the context.
Yeah. No, I just put on Twitter the Scotland have made, the song, Yes Sir, Icon Boogie. They've made that their anthem. They've made that their song.
Yeah. Okay.
And obviously, when they went 1-0 down, I started singing their song. I'm quite looking forward to, if it all goes well, I hope that whoever's on the PA for England, if England win against Scotland on Friday night,
you've got to have it already, haven't they?
That's got to be playing. The second that the full-time whistle blows, that song needs to play.
Yes, interesting. So, lots of worried Scottish fans in the chat. Football can change. Of course it can. That's the whole beauty of it. But I think that, and it's not that Austria, who are they playing? I've lost my mind. It says it in front of me. Czech Republic. It's not that they've been massively better. I just think they've shown that quality that Scotland need to do. But they've got to get up the pitch. That's what they need to do. Where's Scotland's first team? Says P. Smitty. This is it. They haven't got loads of injuries or anything. And why is Fletcher doing punditry? And that's how we're different to the English. Win, lose or draw. We're passionate about our team. Low expectations, Toby. That's what it is. Win, lose or draw. Low expectations. I can't stand that. Do you get that with Chelsea fans? Like, there are some United fans who are win, lose or draw, get behind your team. And I'm like, that's not what Manchester United's all about. It's not about win, lose or draw. It's about winning. That's what an elite club does. That's what Liverpool does. That's what Chelsea want to do. That's what Arsenal want to do. All right, they never do it. But Man City, it's about winning. This win, lose or draw mentality is a low expectation as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I think it's a very worrying thing that happens to football clubs. And look, I don't even mean this in a provocative way to Manchester United, but what we've seen from Arsenal. They've managed to, the owners there have managed to normalise mediocrity to a terrifying level. Like Arsenal, when I was a kid, would demand success. They would demand investment. They would demand 100% commitment. There's a fabulous quote from David Rocastle about remember who you are and what you represent. That's the Arsenal that I grew up with. And I'm from North London. I live in Kilburn. That is the, it's an Arsenal area generally. And that is the way that I view Arsenal. But what's happened is, over the years, they've managed to normalise mediocrity. The club were 10th in the league, and they weren't calling for the manager's head.
Yeah.
And it's quite scary how it slowly happens. And I think that Manchester United, you are correct. You're saying, no, we demand more. We are Manchester United. There is no glory in a draw. We are winners. But it's interesting that you say that it
is creeping in though, because I've heard your mate McCullough saying this on the kickoff. He's sort of we're not on the same page. Like, I back Ollie, but I feel like Adam's a little bit more militant on it. He's almost like, I've got to back him, which I admire and respect. But I would question that to say, well, at what point does the fact that we are slipping further and further away, and you're right, and Arsenal are the test case. I mean, I just think you can't demand success. That's ridiculous and unrealistic. There are cycles, but I've always said with United, when Sir Alex Ferguson goes, you can't expect to win the title every year. But I think as a United fan, you can expect to be the Bayern Munich of Germany. You can expect to be the Juventus of Italy, and Man United are nowhere near that. And that to me is too far a drop off, and there's many reasons why that is. But yeah, people become accustomed to it, and that's a lowering of the standard.
Mark, I would disagree with you. I would disagree. I would say that you can demand to win the league. You may not win it, You may not. It may not come true. It may not come true.
Maybe expect is what I was. Is not demand. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that you absolutely can demand to win the league. I think that Chelsea fans going into next season, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, will all be demanding that their club's ambition is to win the league. Whether it comes true, it only will come true for one of those clubs. But the demand can be there. And I think as soon as you stop that demand, and it's what's happened at Arsenal, it's very strange. Because like I say, the Arsenal that I grew up with is unrecognisable to the Arsenal of today. And it's a warning. It's a warning to Manchester United. It's a warning to everyone else because it normalises it. And all of a sudden, top 4 as an aspiration becomes okay. Suddenly, Europa League becomes okay. Suddenly, you haven't won a trophy for a decade, but it's a process. And you've got to not let that mentality creep in.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just let me read these super chats. Anne and Jay says, 2 of my favourite YouTubers. Hope you guys have a great day. And you, pal. And DK says, which position do you think United need to strengthen to challenge for a title or even compete? Well, we'll do that from DK. But just to come back on what Rory was saying there as well, you can gauge how lower your expectations are as a club and take a long, hard look at yourself as a fan, whether you're a fellow United fan like I was talking about there or an Arsenal fan. When the season starts, I expect Man City and Chelsea will fancy themselves and Liverpool to win the title. Will United fans fancy ourselves? Well, we'll have to see what we do in the transfer window. There's a chance we might fancy ourselves. Not that we think we're going to definitely win it, but maybe we're in it. If you're an Arsenal or you're a Spurs fan, you're deluded if you're going into next season thinking you've got any chance of winning a title. And that's where you need to look at where your club's going wrong. I think United are sort of balancing on that edge of maybe, it's going to go one or two ways. You become a title contender like a Chelsea, a Man City and a Liverpool, or you'd start dropping towards Spurs and Arsenal. But you're right. I mean, expectations of fans and how they be almost become brainwashed, really. Because if you spoke to an Arsenal fan, 15 years ago, they'd be like, yeah, we're one of the best teams in the country. We'd expect to do well in the Champions League. We expect to go for the league. And you look at the erosion over 15 years. In a horrible way, I'd applaud the people who are getting rich off that club because you've convinced millions of fans that over 15 years, the money's still coming in. But you've lowered the expectations of your fans to a level that you're still in charge. And yet you're a mid-table club. Yeah.
And like Arsenal went 9 years without a trophy. They went 9 years. And then, they won the FA Cup and then they had a little bit of a fling with the FA Cup. And I'm not belittling that at all. I think it's incredibly impressive. I love the FA Cup and I'm jealous of Arsenal's record in it. I'm still wounded from Arsenal beating us in the final of the FA Cup. I'm not.
You wouldn't swap it for how many league titles you've won in the last 10 years or the Champions League, would you?
But look, when Arsenal last won the league, you would never believe that it would practically be 2 decades and they still haven't won it again. That year that they went invincible, the year that they call it invincible, Wayne Bridge disagrees with that. Wayne Bridge doesn't call it invincible. We knocked them out of Europe that year. But can you believe that was the last time they won the league? Like Henry and them boys, they haven't won the league since then. And this is what happens if you start allowing top 4 to be viewed as success. If you start allowing stadiums to be viewed as success when discussing on the pitch, it matters. You talk to Arsenal fans about on the pitch matters and they go, but we've got a lovely ground. Like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, I don't even understand the point.
Shea Adams is coming on. I would question why he wasn't starting, Rory. I mean, if you've got a QPR player up front, and I mean, Shea Adams is a Premier League striker. I didn't even know he played for Scott. I did, but I hadn't really thought it through.
I think
he's probably the right sort of striker that might, he's a bit mobile, a bit strong. Yeah, he's probably the sort of striker I would chuck on at half time to maybe make a few things happen.
It's the right move. I think Shea Adams would have had 45 minutes as well of watching the way that this has played out and think that there's something in this for him. Like I remember listening to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer actually talking about being a sub, and I found it fascinating. Like he would be studying the game, studying the weaknesses, studying the run to make, and then when he come on, obviously come on, and he got the nickname Super Sub for a reason. Shea Adams, I guess, would have been looking at this Czech Republic back line, thinking there's some change here for me. I can get something out of this.
Well, it's Czech Republic into the box again. And it could have been 2-0.
After 45 seconds.
that would have been over. They've got to be careful here. Of course, we're all talking about Scotland coming back into it, and very, very much not talking about what Czech Republic might do. So that was a bit of a wake-up call there. Not convinced about this, the quality of this Scottish backline, to be honest. I think, Harry Kane might be looking at it and thinking, I'll have some of that. Another shot. Good save again. Corner.
This half has not gone as Steve Clarke would have wanted it to. Surely it should be Scotland firing out the blocks like this.
Yeah. Czech Republic hungry to get over. There was that question from DK as well. I must ask as well. When, as an outsider looking at Manchester United, what sort of signings, if you had to make? Well, we need 3. So what sort of positions do you think United need? Looking at them,
I think the right wing is the obvious one, isn't it? I think a right winger and a central midfielder makes you look. Say we go dream scenario, right? Say we go Declan Rice and Jadon Sancho, or Ndidi and Sancho. I think all of a sudden you go from probably never going to win the league this year. I know you had a moment, but overall never really going to win it.
It depends on titles. It depends on transfers for United.
To actually winning it, I think you have a real chance of winning it if you were to make those 2 signings. What about centre half? That would be if I'm being greedy for Manchester United, I would.
Yeah, 3. They're the 3 that I'd agree with. Oh, he's hit the bar. Oh. He's hit the Denver. He's hit the Denver. Number, I don't know who it was.
Gosh, God, what a heart! What a opening couple of minutes to the second half.
It's a delightful cross by Robertson. The keeper can only palm it away. Comes to the edge of the box, hits it well onto the top of the bar.
Hit the target there.
Yeah,
like the keeper out of position.
Is he a defender?
Yeah, I don't know. The keeper out of position like that, you have to hit the target. Like he's clipped the top of the bar. That isn't good enough.
Hendry, yeah, he's a defender.
Yeah,
defender's shot that was.
Yeah, I'm being perhaps a little harsh on the positioning.
Good start to the half though. 3 minutes, couple of chances for Austria. Good chance for Scotland. Stays 1-0.
Gosh,
what did you predict? You predicted a draw, didn't you, Rory? You said 1-1.
I predicted a 1-1 draw.
Yeah. I said 2-0 Czech Republic, so it's on.
It's on. We're both very much alive on our predictions.
That's a nice ball here. Whoa, keeper's own goal. No, he's palmed it away.
Oh gosh.
Bloody hell. What a start to the half.
This has been the best 5 minutes of the tournament.
Yeah. Vaglic. So it's a long ball. Defender puts his foot on it. It's going over the goalkeeper's head. He's reached over and just palmed it away.
Oh, defender has the keeper has got that defender out of jail.
Yeah. He's off the ground when he's tried to clear it, hasn't he? And he's messed it right. I tell you what, keeper's done a great job there. That's really hard.
Fantastically well there. That goalkeeper has done amazingly well.
I tell you what, you can get some really good Scottish salmon, but it's the Czechs who are leaping like salmons at the moment. The goalkeeper and the goal scorer. Lovely leap. Yeah.
The Czech Republic need to take the sting out of this game for 5 minutes now. Too much is happening.
Yeah, they came out a bit too up for it themselves, didn't they? It really is a bit of a Mourinho 5 minutes here. Just sit back and let Scotland whack aimless crosses into the box. Yeah,
the Czechs just need to look after the ball for 5 minutes. Just create a situation where nothing happens for a couple of minutes. Knock it about between your midfield and your defence, because this is too much. And like the fans, the home advantage will be benefiting Scotland. They've
gone 2 up front though, haven't they? They've gone 2 up front. They've got Adams and that QPR striker up front now.
Adams and Dykes.
So it's probably opening it up a little bit. Fair play to Scotland though, doing that. They've obviously realised they've got to go for it. They can't just carry on.
Yeah. Look, it's a good way to do it.
Oh, injury here.
It's the way that they needed to do it. They needed to come out of the traps firing. God, yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like the score could be 3-2, and we've only played 5 minutes of the second half.
Did you watch the match last night? I loved that game, the Ukraine game.
It was good.
Scooby-Doo. There's not been any Scooby-Doo. What's the goldometer, Marks? Is advanced. So the goldometer, Rory, if you don't know what it is. So the goldometer is basically at different points in the game, I will say what the percentage chance is of the next goal being scored. So I would say at this moment in time, it's quite a good time to do the goldometer advert. And I'll let Rory do his. But I would say at this point, there is a... Actually, I am actually going to go boring and say 50-50. There's a 50% chance of Czech Republic scoring and a 50% chance of Scotland.
Okay, I see.
It's got a total of 100 and it can swing either way. So like second half yesterday, I was like, I just feel it's swinging towards the Dutch. I'm going to go 70-30 and I was right.
Okay, I actually think that this is swinging towards Scotland. So I would go 60-40 in favour of Scotland scoring next.
There you go. They have got a bit of momentum actually. And they
just
seem like they've...
Well.
I think you can, obviously we're both on YouTube, so on YouTube you can put it onto like
he's shot from the halfway line.
Oh my God, what a goal by Schick. Oh my God. Goal of the tournament, Yarmolenko in the mud. That is unbelievable. Was it in his own half?
God.
My Christ, what a goal.
That is a goal of the tournament. That is goal of the tournament.
You see that happen 10 times a season and you're like, it's going out for a goal kick. What a goal. What a goal. He's in his own half. No, he's not. He's not quite in his own half, but he's bent it as well. Oh, my life. That's it. What a goal. Stunning.
You know when that happens, do you blame the goalkeeper? Should the keeper be... Yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, I feel for the keeper because the way he's hit that, he's not... like Beckham did it with like backspin. He's hit that like a shot. It's going so fast. He's curled it as well. It's just you'd have to be pretty. Even if you were stood on your line, you'd have to watch that one because he's hit it so hard.
Absolutely. What a fantastic hit.
Scottish are like, iron brew. I can't believe it.
They did better than I thought they would do. Their tournament lasted 52 minutes.
What an absolute brilliant goal. And he meant it as well, the way he hit it. I tell you what, maybe we've found our breakout player of the tournament so far. 2 goals. Both of them very good goals. He's on I tell you what, watch out for him because he's on a world-class hat-trick here. Brilliant header. Stunning goal from virtually the halfway line that he meant and he curled.
That was fantastic. That was absolutely fantastic. That 8 minutes before, so what would it have been? 5 minutes before that 5 minutes is the best 5 minutes of the tournament. We could have had 4 goals and then we had the goal of the tournament. In a 5-minute period, there were 4 amazing chances, some brilliant interchanges, and then goal of the tournament.
Now, what I love about this one as well is it starts out not going in. He's actually curled it in, which he probably didn't need to do. But
do you know what? I just think like you've got to give so much credit for that goal because not only have you got to give the credit for the technique and the finish and whatever, but having the balls to try that, having the gumption and bravery to even try that is huge, isn't it?
Nearly 3 there. Scotland are breaking apart here. But wonderful left foot. I tell you what, we've all been there down the park, but imagine doing it in a tournament like that. He'll be on cloud 9, won't he? He'll be trying not to put a smile on his face. He'll be trying to stay professional, but inside he'll be like,
that is outrageous. I can't see a better goal being scored at this entire tournament.
Well, basically, Messi scores that, Ronaldo scores that, and everyone's talking about it being
do you know there was one fairly recently, weirdly. Did you see it was in the Europa League, oddly, by a Glasgow Rangers player? Can't think. Somebody in the comments will tell us. Can somebody in the comments help me out, please? There was a goal scored by a Glasgow Rangers player that wasn't dissimilar to that. It was in the last minute of the game, and it was sensational. Somebody will tell me the name of the fellow, surely. But yeah, what an amazing goal. Ruth. That's it. Ruth. It was Kima Ruth. It was amazing. It was in the last minute of a game in the Europa League, and he did a little bit of skill and then pinged it in from the halfway line. Outrageous. Do you know what it always makes me think of, Mark? I can remember being at Stamford Bridge once and watching Charlie Adam do that for Stoke. Yeah, unreal.
Well, he was. Well, to be fair, I was just thinking. I was trying to think there. Stoke, yeah, but Charlie Adam. Charlie Adam was he used to score a lot of goals. I remember in Blackpool, I used to have him for my fantasy Premier League as well.
Yeah, he's got. I think he went straight over Thibaut Courtois of all people as well. Like smashed it straight over Thibaut Courtois from the halfway line.
Talking about obviously being a Chelsea fan. Oh, Scotland in with a bit of a chance there. Can you remember that? Was it Demba Ba for Newcastle? Them couple of goals. Oh, no, it wasn't. Was it Cisse?
No, it was Papi Cisse.
Yeah.
It was about 10 years ago. Yeah.
That was unbelievable goal.
Yeah, I mean the one that he sliced it with the outside of his right foot, and it curled round the wrong way into the top corner of the shed end. Unbelievable. Yeah, we've seen some glorious goals scored at Stamford Bridge by opposition players over the years. Then that Cisse be one of them.
I don't know whether you discussed it on the kickoff or anything, but we were talking about this on our preview about what sort of tournament we think we're going to get, which I think is a really good question. Like, what tournament do you think you're going to get? And I think, remember the World Cup, everyone loved the group stage, and then obviously gets to the knockout stage and people start to get tentative. But to be fair, this tournament, it's not doing too bad. There's been
this tournament's been great. Also, I think it wasn't necessarily expected, but Russia was an amazing tournament, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Russia was an amazing. Like, it's one that you look back on really fondly. Russia, like, I think the fact that Russia themselves had a fairly good tournament, had some big results, helped. But I think that it was fantastic, and there were lots of fears going into that tournament that were totally proved unfounded.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of negativity about the Russia being hosting it, wasn't it? But it's great.
It was great. This has started really well. The last one I can think of that didn't go to plan. I mean, South Africa was dry, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The vuvuzelas were annoying. It just didn't really spring to life. England were rubbish. France went home early. The games were fairly drab. I don't think the temperature and the humidity helped. I think that was probably the last one that wasn't. What? I've just watched that goal in slow motion.
So good.
I can't believe it. To have the audacity, it's almost rude, Mark. It's almost rude to shoot from there. Like, how can you do that at this level and then to ping it into the top corner? And what you said has actually kind of made me laugh, but it's bang on. If the keeper's on his line, if that's like almost...
You've got to watch it, haven't you? You'd have to watch it. You'd be like...
watch it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic... I don't know loads about him, but I'm very, very impressed with him. He's a different type of striker, and he's certainly got... he's there now, isn't he? I mean...
Yeah. Well, his price has just gone up. His price has just massively gone up.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about these tournaments as well. We talk about how the tournament's going, but they always have been like this. I remember after USA 94, we had all these players infiltrating the Premier League. I'm sure Chelsea got some. I know Spurs brought like Petrescu and Klinsmann, and but it's always the way. It's not just the Premier League that do it. There will be players that will use this tournament to really showcase what they're about.
You often get because also sometimes certain World Cups or certain just international tournaments, they become synonymous with one player, don't they? Like, your overriding memory of a tournament is down to one player. So I'll give you a good example, in my opinion at least. 2014 belongs to James Rodriguez.
Yeah.
2014 James Rodriguez. 2004 Zagorakis. Remember Zagorakis for the Greeks? He ruined the party for Portugal. Beat Portugal in the first game of the tournament and then beat them again in the final. Then there are certain tournaments that are just somebody's. Somebody needs to grab this. Gaza would be 1990.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it's not always the player that wins the tournament.
No, you don't have to win it. No, you definitely don't have to win it. Roberto Baggio didn't win it, but he owned 1994.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is...
it's really just took the stuffing out of Scotland, doesn't it? I mean, although they can take great hope from
Ukraine. Breaking here as well, Mark. They're breaking.
Onto the roof of the net. They need a bit of luck there from Armstrong, and it didn't go in. Hits the shot, deflects up over the keeper, onto the roof of the net.
Needs one of these to go in desperately.
It's still open game, though. It will do a goldometer again because you got it wrong. You can have a second chance. I'm going to go I actually think Scotland will get the next goal, so I'm going to go 70-30, quite high.
In favour of Scotland, I'm doing the other way. I'm doing exactly the same, but the other way. I think the Czechs get another one.
Well, there you go.
Scotland are pouring out, but 70% of me says
They've got to open up. You're right. It's opening up. It's got to open up, hasn't it?
Yeah. I often think in a match, when you haven't got to score and someone else does, you're almost more likely to score. It's like, if you haven't got a win, if you, I don't know, you're getting a 1-1 draw away from home or something in a Champions League, if you haven't got to win, you're more likely to win.
Nearly there.
Scotland need something here. Oh, what a cross. What a waste of an opportunity. 6 men in the box.
Well, it's playing it. You were talking about this before. It's playing into the hands of England, isn't it? Because, of course, we speak about this. I don't really like this format of 4 third-place teams going through, but definitely what's going to happen is there'll be a few teams going through with 3 points, which means goal difference. Well, Scotland here, 2-0 down. You don't want to. They're going to go into that England game and they need a result, but they also, they don't want to put themselves out of the tournament by getting battered. So it could be a very sit-backy, trying to hit back. Scotland have got a difficult approach to that game.
What it means for Scotland as well, when Scotland come to Wembley, what it also means is it must win. Like, I think they would have liked to come to Wembley with the luxury of a draw, the draw being a positive result, but they now need to win, and whether they just don't know whether they can or not really, but they now desperately need to win.
Addy says, "Hi guys, I saw a disgusting bit of news that UEFA threatened Denmark to play on. Abhorrent. I mean, I don't know whether that's true, mate.
That's definitely not the story that I have heard. I heard
they had a choice, didn't they, to play Sunday?
Yeah,
I think
what I heard, which I thought was fairly touching, was that Christian Eriksen on FaceTime via a hospital bed suggested they play on. I mean, I thought that was fairly. I mean, when I say that's what I heard, that's what I've read on various news outlets. I thought that was what happened.
Apparently, Kasper Schmeichel has said that UEFA did threaten them to play on, but
really,
yeah.
I mean, that is obviously completely disgraceful. I mean, I don't know. I was actually having this conversation, but I don't know how they managed.
Peter Schmeichel has said it.
That's different.
They either played that day, the next day, or they forfeit. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's not the same, is it, though?
But to be honest, to be fair to UEFA, let's be fair to UEFA here. Like, what? It's a very difficult situation because there's a tournament going on, and if Denmark don't play that first game, it messes everything up, doesn't it? But I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure it wasn't if you don't play in the next 2 days. I'm sure if Denmark said, look, our players need psychological help, they can't play football, I don't think UEFA would go, well, you're forfeiting. They'd find a way. So this true story is maybe not.
That doesn't sound. Also, saying you have to play the game at some point over the next couple of days is very different to saying you have to play the game now.
Yeah. A lot of people talking about Lucy Beale. I bet you love that. You never get tired of that, do you?
How does that happen? We've got so much football to talk about. We're talking, Scotland are on the precipice of a disaster. The Czech Republic have just scored one of the best goals we've ever seen. We're on the crest of a wave because of England's phenomenal performance yesterday. And
why don't you do any more acting anymore? Anyway, did you just decide you didn't fancy it anymore?
No, far from it, Mark. Far from it. I didn't get any work.
All right, okay.
No, I think there was a year. I think it might have been maybe 2010 or 2011. I worked out in the calendar year that I'd done 30 days work. In the entire year, I'd done 30 days work, which weirdly as an actor isn't too bad. And it works out financially okay because certain jobs are, quite lucrative. But, just in terms of for like what I wanted to do with my life. Also when I became an actor because I wanted to be, Iago on Broadway. What I was doing was some kid in Doctors who'd got his braces stuck to his lip. It was very...
Chance for Dykes. And he's missed it. That's what happens when you play for Rangers. QPR Rangers, not the real Rangers. It's got to score there, mate.
Yeah, they needed that. The keeper's had a good game, hasn't he? The Czech keeper.
Yeah. don't know much about him. Someone will probably say he plays for West Brom. This is what happened to me the other day. I was like, I don't know much about this lad in the midfield. He's like, he plays for West Brom. I was like, yeah. I've had a mare there.
Yeah, I've had it before because of Chelsea's ridiculous loan system. I've had it before when the bloke plays for Chelsea.
Yeah. Yeah, but you could understand that with Chelsea. You've got such a ridiculous. He's got it. Oh, he's got to score.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's
on
it.
His strong left foot, perfect bounce. Put your bloody foot through it. He's not meant that.
That is absolutely unforgivable. Unforgivable. That's why
I mean, the keeper's made a good save, but
no, he should have no option. He should have no choice to make a save there.
Yeah, this level, you've got to score, mate. So yeah, the acting work just dried up.
Yeah, I just didn't get any work, and then I started working in TV as like kind of making TV rather than being in front of camera, being behind camera, and then gradually ended up going across the digital, which is how our paths crossed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I mean, I much prefer what I'm doing now. I love that. I love this world that we operate. Do you?
I do. I do love it. What I don't love is what we were talking about before we came live, which obviously we won't disclose out all of that. But in a nutshell, it's just I just feel that, you know, if Gary Neville went on Twitter and said, Rio Ferdinand, you're such a fake prick, I can't stand you. Why is that acceptable in our industry for people to go and do that? And I just think some people like yourself and the lads at the Kickoff, very, very professional. I like to think at the United Stand we're very professional, but I don't think we do ourselves any favours in this industry because we need to professionalise and work better together, because I just think some people's behaviour just feeds into this online abuse. And we're all human beings at the end of the day. Unfortunately, I've got quite thick shoulders and, you know, I'm not going to be a Caroline Flack or anything like that. God forbid that, you know, that's where it can go. And I think most of us are, you know, aware of the dangers of social media and stuff. But I love what we do, but I also think there's a bad side to what we do. And I think there's some people in this industry that probably shouldn't be in it because they're in it for the wrong reasons. And, you know, they're effectively bullies. But apart from that, I think there's things like what the Kickoff are doing and hopefully what we do that are positives. But I just think we need to professionalise a bit as well.
Yeah, I think focusing on that, Mark, I reckon is definitely the way to proceed. Like what you've built is ridiculous. Like, mate, you've got me on. We've got 11,000 people watching. I realised I've had a bump of about 500-600 people in subs. Like, what you've built it's actually.
What, since you've been on air?
It's actually groundbreaking what you've achieved. So I think you should like give yourself a pat on the back and kind of focus. Like, I think what you, Brian, the True Geordie, Lawrence, what you boys have done is actually like pioneering work, and you should kind of give yourself a pat on the back and focus on that rather than the any negativity that you may face, particularly on social media.
Yeah, but you know what? I think social media negativity is fine, but when it's coming from people in the industry, that's what I mean. You know, there's actually people. I think in this we know privately what goes on, and we know that there are silly little divisions, and I just think people working together is far better. It doesn't mean you know everyone's got to you know grow their own thing, haven't they? But I just think that there are irresponsible people who just need to bloody almost hit the reset button and realise that they're in a position where we're all trying to, you know, break boundaries. You know, this world didn't exist 10 years ago. And just seems to me there are people in this industry who actually they want to break boundaries, but they also want to break other people's legs, so to speak. And I just think that feeds into the issues. But it's a fantastic arena, and I think, you know, you can see by people who watch this that, you know, they enjoy it as well, and you know, enjoy the stuff that you're doing with the Kickoff and your own stuff as well. And I think it's going to be an interesting 5 years. I don't know where it'll be in 5 years.
Do you know what though, Mark? I often think that because we are the first in terms of like there is no case study of what happens to us lot next because we're the first. It is a very interesting idea, isn't it? Like where do YouTubers go in 2036? Like nobody knows. We have nothing to compare it to. It's never been tried out before.
No.
So it is very exciting and also mildly intimidating world to operate.
Well, Nothing Ever Lasts Forever. That's one of my favourite songs, Echo and the Bunnymen, with a cameo from Liam Gallagher. And nothing does ever last forever. But this Scottish Euros campaign ain't going to last forever. It's not going to last beyond Friday.
That segue. See, that's what sets you apart. That gets nothing but a round of applause from me. That is amazing.
20 minutes to go.
From Echo and the Bunnymen into the football that we're currently watching. Not everyone can do that.
I've learned from the best. Scotland are dead, says Jazz. I don't know about that. I don't know. I think we talked about this last night again. As I'm sure you've spoken it many times. Every football fan knows this. 2-0 is the most dangerous score in football.
Do you know it isn't?
It can't be, can it? Really?
No, it isn't. It actually isn't. Do you know? There's the Twitter account I love. Do you know Duncan, Mark? Do you know Duncan Alexander?
I'm
very good. He used to run the account. You know the account. All football facts, like funny facts, he does. I can't remember his Twitter now. I'll send it to you. But he always puts out things that, like football cliches that aren't true, and I always find them very funny. Like the two that seem to get quite a lot of love that actually aren't true are Turf Moor is a difficult place to go for big teams,
and the record suggests not.
No, that isn't true. Like every big team wins at Turf Moor. Like it isn't true. It's just become this thing. And the other thing is 2-0's a dangerous scoreline. Like 96% of teams that go 2-0 up win the game.
I tell you what, though, as somebody who's played the game, I think there is an element of. I mean, I don't discount what you've just said there, but as somebody who's played the game, who's coached the game, who's watched my team in that game, 2-0 is not a nice score. Because you feel like you've based 2-0, you think that's the cushion we need, but one goal back and it's like shit time. And I think that's where it comes from. Clearly, it's not the most dangerous score in the world, but it's a dangerous score. That's what it is, 2-0, because you almost think you've won, but very quickly it turn around, as it did for the Dutch last night. 2-0, they're probably thinking they're cruising, and obviously 2-2 very, very quickly. Yes,
look, it can.
You could drop off. You might drop off a bit, says Sampson. I think there's a mental danger with a 2-0 lead.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, there is that chance, but generally speaking, if you're 2-0 up, you're seeing the 3 points.
Okay. Sorry. Love your content. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you very, very much.
That's lovely. That's just lovely, isn't it? How kind.
I've got loads of people. Loads of people in our chat like that. I mean, to be fair, whether it's this channel or the United Stand, one thing I'm very proud of is that the community is fantastic, which is why when you get the twats on social media, I don't really pay any attention, because the community's always been good, which is the main thing. Bring on Mel Gibson, says Gary Turner.
Very good.
Are you doing a Spain watch along? Yeah, I'll do Spain tonight. I'm looking forward to watching Spain tonight, actually. I mean, I gave Rory the choice, but he went with this one, and probably made the right choice, to be fair, because we've seen a cracking goal. But Spain are a weird team. I mean, what's your final? I think everyone picks France to win it, but who do you think will be the two teams in the final? And what do you think about Spain? Do you think some people seem to? I don't know what I think about Spain.
No, I don't think Spain are. I don't think Spain are going to have a particularly impressive tournament. They've obviously got some talented players, but I'm not threatened by Spain at all. I think the final will be England-Portugal. I think Portugal are intimidating. I'm slightly scared of Portugal. Do you know what it is? It's the spine of their team.
Yeah.
You know how they've got, like the spine, it sort of goes Diaz, Fernandez and Bernardo Silva, and then Ronaldo and Joao Felix or whatever. That heartbeat of the team is intimidating, and for that reason alone, I'm slightly concerned about what they can do.
They always seem to do well in the Euros as well. Portugal, the Euros always seems to be a tournament that Portugal.
Yes, and did am I right? They won the Nations League as well, didn't they? Did they?
I don't know. I didn't really pay any attention to that tournament. Well, they're the holders as well, aren't they? The holders of this tournament as well.
Yeah, I think they won the Nations League, unless I'm losing my mind. In which case, there's our thing that gets clipped if I'm wrong. But as far as I remember,
about the Nations
they
League?
won the
I
Nations
think you can get
League.
that one wrong.
Somebody will be Who cares?
Hamilton says that Ollie Sainer is his Twitter account. The content lads. They did win it. You're right.
That's very cool.
It's funny actually because there's a. I mean, I'm sure you get plenty of them, and I get one of them, but them as well. But there was one particular clip that still comes up now. I was on the kickoff, and we're all having a chat, and it was about Pep, and basically we're going in on Pep a bit, and I think I said something along the lines of, "Yeah, he didn't do particularly well at Barcelona in 2000, a year where he wasn't at Barcelona, basically." And everyone was nodding and going along with it. And he just got clipped like, "Oh, these man are getting paid to talk about football and they don't even know this about this." And I just found it really funny because it's like, well, for one, it's like 8 years ago. It's a passing conversation about something that we're probably not really interested in and just sort of agreeing with each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also there's not an exam you have to pass to do this. That's the great thing about it. You don't. It's just
I had one mark. Like I don't even care. I flag it. But there was one that gave me such a headache. It was like,
Scooby-Doo. Scott McTominay. Scooby-Doo.
Surely there was a foul in the build-up there.
I thought he basically shoves the Czech Republic player out of the way, and then he's got a free volley on the edge of the 6-yard box. Oh, my Christ.
He just
again, that's terrible.
It's just the quality, isn't it? It's just, where you need that element of finesse, that element of craft and guile and skill. It's just not here, is it? It just doesn't exist in this team.
Should have scored that. Go on, anyway. Tell us your clip.
No, mate. I had a terrible one. Because what people don't understand. Look, you'll be able to empathise well with this, Mark, and people who watch your stuff on a regular basis, the community that are watching this stream presumably will understand. But we go live for hours at a time, and we often go off on a tangent, right? So we don't know. We can't rehearse what we're going to talk about because we talk about anything. We were talking about Charlie Adam lobbing Thibaut Courtois. We didn't know that was going to come up. That happened to come up. So
not unless you're on Sky or BBC, in which case you do know exactly what you're going to be talking about.
Yes, of course. They have very strict, regimented sections that they're going to stick to. But you couldn't have possibly predicted that I was going to talk about Charlie Adam, and I couldn't have possibly predicted it because I didn't realise that this geezer was going to ping one in from the halfway line. So there we go. On those 3 hours, we were talking about Pep Guardiola on the stream that I did as well. And without thinking, I was talking about Henry, Suarez, and Neymar up front.
This is probably the same clip.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Right.
See, I couldn't remember the total story of it, but that.
Yeah. Right. So
that might be the same one. Yeah.
Go on, carry on. Okay. Well, I said that. I said that. No. What would it have been? It would have been Messi, Neymar, and Suarez. That's the team. Messi, Neymar, Suarez. So I said that team, Messi, Neymar, Suarez, was amazing. And when you've got those three up front, can't be that difficult to manage. And Guardiola did a decent job, or whatever. Obviously, it wasn't Guardiola that managed them.
That was it. Yeah.
And oh my God, and you're just like, look, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I've probably had a gin and tonic. I'm chatting to my mates. We had no idea this was going to come up. It's effectively a conversation around a pub. I'm so sorry. It must have happened about, I don't know, 2 years ago now. Every now and again, it just finds its way back into my life. This clip, I don't know. Is it a sin that deserves to be bought? Should I be crucified for that? Is it idiotic enough? Maybe it is. Or is it something that should kind of be forgotten and it's just one of those things?
It won't be forgotten because it's for haters to go and say, look at this lot doing well, and they don't know anything about a team that Pep didn't manage 10 years ago.
Yeah. It's very, very.
Jamie Carragher, because he did some great work on the Super League, he can say no wrong, and he can come out and say, "I told you, Pogba and Bruno can't play in the same team."
Yes, yeah. I know exactly what you mean. No, people. I think we weirdly, people like us who haven't played the game at any sort of level, are held to a higher account than Jermaine Jenas, which just doesn't. Yeah,
but the whole point of that is because actually what we do is basically we are bringing we are saying that fan opinion is better, is as valid as anybody else's, and can be in right or as wrong as anybody else's. Whereas if you've played the game, you're almost forgiven. Oh, good chance! It was his hat trick as well. He's gutted. Was it his hat trick? I think it was. It was Schick. came across it, hit it on his left foot, and he's hit it straight at the keeper. But yeah, what was I saying is that I think I mean Jermaine Genius is for me is one of the worst pundits.
Yeah, because
he's so many bad takes.
He hasn't played the game. Like even yesterday, he was talking about Raheem Sterling being like unplayable, being one of the best players on the pitch or whatever, which he obviously wasn't. Like, yes, he scored the winner, very well taken goal. I'm ever grateful for him doing that, but he didn't have a good game.
I think he's an intelligent guy, Jermaine. I just don't think he's.
Is he?
No. You know, like some footballers, like if you got Gaza, genius in his feet, but if you got him to be a pundit, I'd rather listen to, my daughter talk about football, because I just don't think Gaza's got it going on.
But the difference with Gaza and Jennings, at least Gaza played. Gaza was wicked. Gaza's experienced this. Jermaine Jennings hasn't even played. Like, what's he know about international football?
I just think he's a very lazy pundit. I think he sort of like rocks up looking good and then just doesn't really watch the game and then goes, yeah, Sterling's a generational talent. Southgate is one of the best coaches in the world. I mean, some of the crap he comes out about Manchester United as well. They even had him on about the Super League and he was talking with Shearer and Shearer was quite bad, but Genius was even worse. He was like, don't really know what United fans are moaning about. It was about the protests after. He was like, don't really know what they're on about. You can't win something all the time. And then they had Andy Mitten on. He was like, it's not about trophies. This has been going on for 16 years. Yeah. And ultimately, he was very polite. But on social media, everyone was like, why have you got somebody on who doesn't know? Yeah. It really, one thing I've learned in life, and I'm sure many people are the same, I don't mind the people having an opinion, but don't have an opinion on something you've not educated yourself on. To start talking about the Glazers and saying, oh, well, they've spent loads of money and you've won titles with them. Yeah, that's not, you don't get it then. You don't don't comment on something you don't get.
Because also that protest was going on, like green and gold till the club is sold. I remember
we won the title.
That was 15 years ago, wasn't it?
We've won titles with the green and gold. It's not about that. But Genius in particular has got bad takes, but there's plenty of them out there that do.
Yeah, no doubt.
Which is surprising, really, because they do get handed a script, most of them. So, how do you get it wrong? But there you go.
Yeah.
And they've got someone in their ear.
It is very frustrating at times. Very frustrating.
Well, it's frustrating for Scotland, Rory, because they've got 7 minutes. They
need a they're in here.
Oh, he's gone on a great run there.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
That was impressive. They're not going to score, but they're just not getting anywhere, really, are they? A few half chances, a few last-ditch tackles from the Czechs, but ultimately they're weathering this storm fairly well.
If I had to describe this game for somebody who hadn't watched it, I would say Czech Republic remind me a little bit of, as I said before, it's a bit Chelsea Burnley. It's a bit like that. It's been a bit like that. Chelsea against Burnley. There could have been a draw. There could have been a shock, but ultimately
it went as we predicted. Yeah.
No, well, I predicted 2-0. You said 1-1.
Yeah, I know. I tried to just put that in there as if I got it right. But
I think you pressured me into going 2-0 because I would have gone 1-1, but because you went 1-1, I was like, oh, it's boring when everyone goes the same. So I'm going to go with a Czech win. I'll go 2-0. So yeah, I think this is my first accurate result of the tournament so far. If it stays 2-0, of course, it's still 5 minutes.
Really, I got England right yesterday.
I said a draw for that. I said 1-1.
Did you? No, I said England 1-0. I think if you're hedging your bets, if you just say 1-0 for every opener in the group,
yeah,
I reckon that it's going to come in at some point. God, Scotland need more. They need to be like launching wave after wave of attack. They're just not asking enough.
Tell you what, though, a lot of people always say to me I'm a little bit hard on Scott McTominay. I think. I am a United fan, and obviously I'm going to talk about him. For me, this is why Scott McTominay is not a United player, because he's not been bad today. But no, you've got to bring that down. Been better off shooting, wouldn't he?
Oh, basically either option but not the one that he picked. 3 options there: shoot, bring it down, or lay it across goal. And he picked the worst option. He laid it across the goal straight into the centre half's feet. Why would you do that? You've got 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes to make this count, and you have the freedom of the penalty area for a few seconds. You're never going to get a better option than that. You have to make it count. I'm now frustrated. I don't know why I care.
That's the way it is, isn't it? That's the way it is. But yeah, just go back to McTominay. I just think he's been, if you're a United player on this pitch, you should be a cut above everybody else, and he's just been very average. And I think that's my issue with McTominay. Doesn't necessarily do anything wrong, but doesn't do enough.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I'm surprised that he still is first choice starter for Manchester United.
Yeah. Well, this is why we've got a problem. But it sets it up lovely for Friday. I'm even more looking forward to Friday now because they've got to come at us. I think if we'd drawn yesterday and they'd drawn today, it would have been Braveheart on repeat all week. But now that they're under pressure.
Mate, Mark, do you know what the worst possible scenario was? Which I was there was a part of me that thought it could happen. Imagine a world where England draw, which could have easily happened. England draw and Scotland win today. That would have meant that Scotland were going into the game at Wembley with the ability to knock England out of the tournament while securing their own passage.
Yeah.
That would have just been a world in which, I don't think this group of players could have passed up that opportunity. They would have won it because of what was at stake.
Yeah, they're going to come into this game now really worried. Ikea Shurak says, Englishman living in Czech Republic and my boss is Scottish. Can the day get any better? Great chat, lads. That does sound like a good scenario, actually. I'll tell you what, your day's going to get even better on Friday. Well, we won't be at work on Friday night, but I don't, they say confidence, arrogance before a fall, but I don't see this Scotland team. I mean, even the chances they've had, they've panicked with them, haven't they? So they're not even one of them teams that are boring and clinical. Like they're not clinical either.
No. Even you're absolutely right, because if they had a more ruthless centre forward, they have had opportunities to score today. They had that Lyndon Dykes missed an absolute sitter. You have to score those chances. You have no option but to score those chances at this level of the game, because chances are precious. They're very difficult to come by. You have to work very hard to create them. And if you waste them when they come in, you're not going to get another one.
Well, the balance of the game, when you think about it, balance the game on chances, that they're probably not far off. Because you think about the two goals, they were excellent goals. They were excellent goals. They were half chance. Well, the second goal wasn't even a half chance. It was just something out of nothing, world class. And the header had to do a lot of work. So realistically, chances wise,
yeah, but that's what
is shit.
Exactly. But that's what you need. You need somebody that can create something out of nothing, not create nothing out of something, which is what Scotland have. I thought that you were really kind after we watched that chance happen. When we watched that moment when Lyndon Dykes rolled it into the keeper and the keeper saved it with his foot, your summary was very good save. And I think it's a very nice way to look at it. I think it's a very kind way to look at it. But I disagree with you, Mark. I don't think it was a very good save. I think it was a fairly easy save, but a disgusting miss. And that set the tone for the game.
Disgusting miss, love it. Well, but the thing, why I was kind? Because he plays for QPR, and therefore my expectations are that that's that's a championship striker. That is, which is the problem that Scotland have, I suppose. I mean, there's a good point here from Ben 2002. He says, should we rotate the squad for Friday? We could put Dean Henderson in goal. Cody could play at the back, give Stones a rest. Calvert-Lewin. I mean, I think he's taking the piss, but we probably could beat Scotland with our reserves. Oh, they should have scored again.
That's a good save.
Yeah,
that is a good save. I mean, I think it's going to prove fairly insignificant, but it's a very good save.
I mean, there is an embarrassment factor in this tournament as well, because considering there's 24 teams in it, and only 8 are going to go out.
Yeah, yeah. You can't be one of the ones that drop out. I agree.
66% of the teams are going through.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good save. Should have done better though. This is what I mean about chances. You're lucky to get a chance at this level. You have to make the most out of it.
Harry Kane should have scored that one yesterday, though, didn't he?
Yes, Kane and Sterling both missed sitters. absolute sitters, worrying sitters.
Somebody just reminded me of a good tweet I can do.
Go on, I'll nick it.
Oh no, basically, it's not true, but it's just people hyping something up. So basically, after Italy, I went, I'd really take that Locatelli at CDM. I really like him, and I think I did it with Zakaria against Switzerland as well. I literally did it for the first 2 games, and then everyone's been saying, well, not everyone, but a lot of people have been going, oh, Goldbridge will be saying, oh, I'll take that North Macedonian CDM. So I just saw someone in the chat there saying, I bet he won't be saying it about the Scottish CDM. So I've just tweeted, I tell you what, I wouldn't take that Scottish CDM because obviously it's McTominay, isn't it? So.
Yeah, very good. You know, Locatelli is class, like really, really good player. But if next time you're in London, Mark, my favourite restaurant in London is called Locanda Locatelli. We got to go there. Every time we talk about Manuel Locatelli, all I'm thinking is I really want to go to Marble Arch and go to Locanda Locatelli. It's so nice. When you're down, food? Italian, yeah. When you're down,
Italian food's my thing. Bellissimo, I love it. Because my real name's obviously Italian. I don't know whether you're on that kickoff show.
I'm certainly aware of the. Yeah, I'm certainly aware.
I mean, there were people in the what going what, but I mean, it's a well-known thing. It's not like breaking news, but it's like anything, isn't it? It's like the other day I said to you just before we went live. Somebody was talking yesterday about like obviously Flex has left the channel, and they were like, I was on about it. I was like, but like because he's been on Robbie's channel, and he was like, well, but it is his uncle, and they're like, what? Flex is Robbie's Flex's uncle. I was like, yeah, it's pretty well known.
I mean, I know Flex. I know Flex well. I like Flex, but I didn't know that they were. And I know Robbie as well, but I don't think that's well known in the YouTube thing.
Yeah, but you still do get people like will go, oh, I didn't know your name wasn't Mark Goldbridge sort of thing. But
yeah,
it's I reckon the evolution of things, isn't it? You've always got new audiences, and you know.
Yeah, true. But no,
you almost have to repeat yourself. It's like UK Gold sometimes.
Yeah, but that does us a favour sometimes because you can get more mileage out of the same story.
Yeah, definitely. Biggie Third says you're right about McTominay. How is he a United player, let alone starter? Robertson is still class regardless of his teammates. I think that's a great point by Biggie Third, actually, because with Robertson, Liverpool player, you can see he is a Liverpool player. Even though Scotland aren't that good, you can see the quality of Robertson, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, McTominay's a Man United player. If you didn't tell me that, I wouldn't have known that. But if you'd said that left back plays for Liverpool, I'd go, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. But also, if you had told me,
goal, oh no,
like the fellow who scored the goal for the Czechs, if you told me that he played for like was on the books for Bayern Munich after today's performance, it's believable, isn't it?
Yeah. By Leverkusen, he's at, isn't he? I mean, I'll be honest. I knew the name, but you know, I use the chat.
How do you pronounce it? Is it Schick?
Yeah, I think it's Schick. Yeah.
Yeah. What a good performance from him.
The thing is, I do that all the time. It's like, you know, it's impossible. The way my mind works is like when I do an exam, I'll study. I'll have everything in my head. Yeah. I'll have ways of remembering it, and then as soon as it's over, I brain dump. But the great thing about doing shows like this is I do know a lot about football. I love football, but I don't know everything. It's like what you said about that Rangers player. I wouldn't have known who that was. But you ask the chat, and there are people out there who just have fantastic knowledge. And that's the great thing about doing this sort of stuff. You can almost use it like your own Google. You'll be like, what's the name of that player who does that? And within seconds, they're like...
Yeah. It's because you've got so many in the chat as well, Mark. Like, it's amazing what you and your community have built here. It's like I don't know if you ever stop and pause and just acknowledge quite how, like your subs, your community, it's amazing.
No, they are fantastic. It is great. A left back in Robertson isn't going to win you a game, says Steve Locke. No, it's not. And I tell you what, that forwards won in the game, Rory.
Yeah.
Scottish hearts are breaking. All I can hear is the caps off Iron Brew clipping off as they try and console themselves.
Oh, yes, sir. I can boogie.
It's always the way for these teams, though. The best part is the anticipation, isn't it? Until reality bites. But they've got a chance. They've got a chance to shut us English up on Friday night. But I tell you what, I won't be worrying about that game as much as I thought I might be this week. I'm fairly relaxed going into that now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see a world where we can allow this Scotland team to trouble us at all. They've offered nothing to the Czech side, and we're better than the Czech side, so we should be fine.
I mean, look, they'll be better than today. It's at Wembley. It's against England. They've just lost. It's about passion. It's about, there'll be some crunching tackles. They'll be running 100 miles an hour. But, if England manage that game, win a few yellow cards, let them run out of steam in the first half an hour, pass the ball about a bit, I think we'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we will be fine. And I will stick to my earlier prediction of 5-0. I think that I've seen nothing in the Scotland team to amend my England 5, Scotland 0 prediction.
And Rick the Red says, they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. You've got your freedom, the Scots. Remember that. You've got your freedom. That's what matters. Look, thanks for coming on, Rory. Really, really great to have you on. And obviously give a shout out to where people can find you. I mean, people know the Kickoff. You've got your own channel as well.
Oh, mate, that's incredibly kind of you. If anyone wants to subscribe, I would be ever grateful. So kind of you. It's Rory Jennings on YouTube. That's my channel. I'll be doing a review of this Scotland game imminently.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
I will end the stream there and have a chat with Rory, but thanks everyone for watching. I think we are doing the Poland game. I'm not, but we have got someone doing the Poland game, and I'm back for the Spain game at 8 o'clock tonight. So we'll speak to you all in a bit. Good result for Czech Republic and not so good for Scotland. Thanks for coming on, mate.